Because I am agoraphobe and you are not.
Hey,
what is up,
everyone?
everybody?
Good evening, everyone.
I got a serious fucking volume issue, man. For some reason, I cannot fucking hear.
Can you, in anyone particularly, or just in general?
I can hear you through. Go ahead and talk. Yeah,
I am talking now.
But on my fucking phone.
Ah, okay.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do the same shit. You gotta like play the stream on your phone and computer at the same time just to build the watch hours and stuff.
Well, no, just so I can talk over here and all this kind of shit. Here, I might have to turn this up so I can hear you guys.
What's up, Joe? The vlog. He's I keep forgetting he's the vlog guy now, not the horror guy. Ginja.
What's up, Jason?
Yeah, Ginger's here. Joseph. Austin Wilcott. What's up, Austin?
Joseph. Austin Wilcott.
Hey, what's going on, Austin? Joseph.
Speaking of bad horror movies, as this was the topic, for some reason I threw on the movie Ma from a few years back. I saw it when it came out, and I just saw it, and I said, "Whatever, this is such a bad movie." Like,
is that the Blumhouse movie?
Yeah, with the black like single woman who like becomes a killer and shit. Like, that was bad. Like, I remember it like not at all because it was bad then when I first saw it. But I threw it on for some reason. Like, looking at it here at the end.
You guys stay right there, and I'll come back in.
Okay, cool.
See if that fixes it. Stay right there. All right. What's the best way to get out of here and come back without losing you completely?
Would you just leave studio, right, and then come back in?
So don't hit the end.
$7.99.
I wouldn't end the stream right now because people get dropped from their own streams all the time. Yeah.
How do I fucking leave, man? Without ending it.
The very bottom of the screen should say, just leave studio. I think, unless it's different.
I don't have a leave studio.
What is up? What is up? Subjective Perspective Collective. I fucking love that name so much.
Dirk is here. What's up, Dirk?
What's up, Dirk?
Dirk, yes, Dirk, man. Oh, what a great name.
Yeah.
So you guys can hear me?
Oh yeah.
I can hear you.
I can
hear you.
No issues.
Yeah, I hear everything loud and clear.
Yeah, everything
Same here.
sounds good here. It's a little bit of static coming through, like a little, but I don't know whose it is or if it's just me. But everything sounds fine.
I'm just going to restart my device. I'll try it that way. I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
Bam.
Phil's here. Phil's Creepy Vids. What's up, Phil?
What's up, Phil?
What's going on, Phil?
So, yeah, this actually wasn't easy to do at all, this top 5.
Yeah, no, that's
Mhm.
why I didn't, like I said before we went live, I didn't even make a list. I just kind of
Like,
have more modern ones in mind, and then as we
Mhm.
talk, ones will come up
Yeah.
because it's a lot harder to define worse.
For me, I
Yeah.
had my 5 already.
I like Googled it, like, you know, like worst ones, and like it was just giving me so many different random ones. So
I
I
know, I
decided
did
to
the
just look straight at my collection and just go from there. Because there's definitely some things I have in my collection that are fucking awful movies, but I still find some kind of value in them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's why it's so. It was like impossible for me to make a list, and especially just a few days of the top 5 worst. Like best is different because you know what you like best, but like when it's just so many different factors to a bad movie. And I brought up Troll 2 as an example because Troll 2 and even Birdemic, like to a stupid level, like as
Yeah,
terrible as those films are, like you could still
just
have a
those
lot of fun
two.
with them.
Yeah,
I
like
can't
just those
call them
two
the
right
worst
there,
ever.
are like they're like could be easily in the top 10. Just those, just like
Yeah.
those two
Yeah. Oh,
alone.
yeah. Like it depends
Yep.
on how you look at it, and that's why it's so hard for me to just make a list.
For
Because like
me, House of the Dead is
people who watch that
a
like
guilty pleasure
yearly,
for me
yeah,
of
there's
how
people that
bad it
watch
is.
Birdemic yearly just because and to laugh at it. So I did a double feature live stream of 1 and 2, and we did 3 like months and months ago of the 3 movies, and they're hilarious to watch with people, but they
I've
are
only seen the
absolutely
first
awful.
one.
Oh,
I saw
you don't
the
know what
first one, and
awaits.
that was it. That was enough for me.
You don't know what awaits you in the second and third one. It ain't just birds. There's like zombies and like other like creatures and shit, like just all weird random stuff thrown together. Like it gets insane.
Either Brian goes blue.
Yeah, Brian's here. What's up, Brian? Brian over at Brian Goes Blue. But yeah,
Austin's
maybe
mentioned House 4.
House 4. I don't think I've seen House 3 and 4. I love the
yeah.
first 2 houses. I don't think I ever saw that.
I really think after the second House story, or what's it called? The second story, I think it's
Yeah.
called House 2. Like after that, that's when those movies get really questionable for me, at least.
Yeah, I never saw after the second one because that's what I heard, like from pretty much everywhere, is how terrible the others are after that.
Yeah,
And I can imagine. Well,
they're just not even worth your time, really.
yeah.
Another
like
movie
there's some movies that exactly are just you hear
Another
so
movie
much
I think
bad.
is a piece of shit is The Bye Bye Man.
Yeah,
I
I
never
have
saw
that
it.
in my collection too. I considered that for like a couple minutes. I was thinking about that, and I was like, "There's some other ones I want to fucking mention over this." though. That's why I didn't make my list.
Yeah.
That's an example there. That I just never saw that one because of all the awful things I heard about it. So it's like,
And it's
what's the
not
point?
and it's
Like, why waste
actually
time watching it?
and it's not a good movie to watch where people who deal with stress and stuff and illness. It's
Yeah.
not a good movie for that because it shows a lot of shit for that.
Yeah,
So
I
it
feel
could like trigger somebody who
Yeah.
like who's sensitive to stuff like that. It could trigger somebody, I
I
guess.
could
Yeah,
see
'cause
that, like the Babadook dealing with depression and grief so much.
Mhm.
Myself, as well as so many, deal with depression and
But The
stuff.
Bye Bye Man's it's an
Bye
awful
Bye Man.
movie.
Oh, I heard terrible things about it. I will never watch it because of that.
Yep. I got to see it on Netflix and it was an awful movie.
Yeah, I have Bye Bye Man on Blu-ray in my collection. I think my mom bought it for me like a couple years ago, and I still never watched the movie. But I was still thinking about putting it on my list anyway.
Yep.
Right. Halloween
Especially
Resurrection,
nowadays.
Austin says. I mean, yeah, Resurrection is awful. That's like when it's so hard and impossible for me to make a list because it's like, all right, take that example Austin said, Halloween Resurrection. It is an awful film. But is it like the
Yeah,
top 5
I didn't.
worst horror films ever made for me? Like,
I
no, not
I
in the slightest.
actually I left the Halloween franchise alone with this one. I left them out of it. I thought about Halloween Ends. I thought of like a couple of different Halloween films. I was like, I'm gonna leave the Halloween franchise out of this.
Yeah, like I'm thinking like worse, where like no redeeming qualities whatsoever, like terrible script, acting, effects, everything like that would have to be like those type of movies, like to make a list for me of worst ever.
It's probably the worst idea that I ever came up with for a top, because this is going to be different for everyone. You know,
well, I'm glad you decided
like
to do 5 instead of 10, because 10 probably would have been a little bit harder, actually. Like, damn, like I really got to
another 5.
I gotta look at some films in an awful way right now. A 10 of them, like fuck.
And 4 of us doing a top 10 worst, man, we'd have been going for 2 or 3 hours.
So, I still think this topic is pretty interesting, though. Either way, it's probably like I agree with you. It's probably not a good idea, but I'm still interested to do it. So
it's pretty much the piece of shit list.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because I just did a video the other day on the unpopular opinions in horror, and it's like, and it goes right back to this. Like, there's a lot of movies out there most people hate that I adore. So it's like it's always going to be completely different from person to person, for sure.
There's one anybody watching that is sensitive about something they like that they know is not very good that could possibly be chosen. Just remember, it's all everybody's opinion.
Yeah,
and
to each their own.
Exactly.
We all love some shitty movies. There's always some movies that have that redeeming quality of being fun or something. So don't take it personally, guys. Just enjoy.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see.
You want to do quick, just honorable mentions, real quick?
You know what? Real quick though, like I think one way to like actually notice if like someone's taking it like too seriously, like for me, like the ones that I'm gonna be showing, I own all of these. So if I own them, there's got to be some kind of value to the movie.
Yeah.
For me, at least.
I couldn't have done it like that, man. So I thought that was an interesting way of going about it.
Yeah. I usually try to base all my tops. Like if I do a top 5 or 10, I usually try to base it on what's in my collection.
That would be a whole title all by itself, though. Top 5 worst based on what you have. You know, based on what you have in your collection. You know what I mean? That would have been.
I got a small ass collection. Yeah, I wouldn't even be able to make a top 10 maybe at this point. Physical media, nah.
Surprises me about you.
I'd be like, shit. I wish it was a top 5. Yeah. Why did it have to be top
10? Well, I guess we start out with a JT, or if you got 2 or 3 honorable mentions going out there.
I mean, this one came to mind instantly just because I was just thinking about it. The Black Christmas remake from 2019 is just one modern example of just one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Piece of shit movie.
Oh, it's so
I'm glad we're mentioning it because like it almost made my list. It was really close to making my list, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep all the remakes. Try to keep remakes out.
Try to keep them all. I was feeling like that might have been one of them too, because that one, I don't know really anyone who likes that movie. Like I know there are people out there.
It's so forgettable. It's really like such a disgrace.
It's fucking woke as shit too.
It's insulting because there's movies that handle like feminism and you know, equality and stuff like that like very well, and have that as good subtext and themes they explore. This movie is just, the whole movie is the propaganda. It's just being slammed in your face for the entire fucking movie. And then everything else is terrible. The story, it has nothing to do with Black Christmas at all. Like it is so bad.
Because you guys are using words to describe this movie that I don't hear very often. Like, you know, it's some words I haven't heard in a long time to describe movies.
And also PG-13 as well.
It was terrible. What?
Like, can you imagine having the Blu-ray for that though? Like what the special features are probably like hearing interviews with some cast and crew from the movie. Like, I would love to actually. I'd be a little interested to check that out, just to fucking hear all these bad thoughts and whatever from these people.
I almost guarantee that movie was just chilling on Blumhouse's, you know, just desk for mad long collecting cobwebs, and then they said like, let's just throw the name Black Christmas on this and get this shit out and make a little bit of money back. And that's exactly what it feels like in every single way.
Yeah, like it's not like it at all. Like, there's nothing in the story that even is a remake.
No, there's nothing to do
Nothing
with
at all.
So like,
Yeah.
and they even rip off Exorcist 3's excellent jump scare, but like in a terrible way too. Like they blatantly rip that off.
I didn't actually finish the whole movie. I pretty much stopped watching it after like the 30 or 40-minute mark. I got up to and I stopped watching it. But if I remember correctly, like the killer is like going around with like a hooded cloak or something like that, and it's just.
Like,
it feels like it's just like the whole everything I saw in that movie, that little bit I saw, that half hour, 40 minutes, it just felt like the opposite of what Black Christmas is. It just didn't. Nothing about it felt right.
It makes the
Something
06 remake
turn
look like
that shit off and just move on.
Yeah, it looks like a masterpiece. The 06.
I seen it on HBO and I was just bored of the movie. Like I was just like, this is supposed to be Black Christmas. This doesn't show jack shit about how creepy the first movie, the original movie was, and also I don't mind the 2006 remake.
I don't either. Yeah, and
yeah,
that movie was like a masterpiece compared to this one,
Yeah.
the 2019 one. But yeah, that one's awful.
Damn. All right, Juno.
Oh, for me, it's
You wanna
not
throw one
a
in there?
movie. Yeah, for a dishonorable mention, I'm gonna pick the Chucky TV show.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's a good one.
I haven't seen that either.
Yeah,
I'm good at avoiding these films, I think.
I just can't stand the show that just, I don't know. They just made Chucky a freaking joke in that show.
Some people like it, don't they?
Yeah,
I mean, they keep
It's
producing
great.
seasons, so I guess their ratings are probably doing good.
As somebody who loves the entire Child's Play franchise, including Seed and Bride and everything, but I loved the first season of the show. And then, like, the second season kind of boxed itself in.
Yeah.
The location very early on. And then there was an episode that was very meta with Jennifer Tilly, and I completely just lost interest and I stopped watching after that. And then I just recently caught up on the rest of the season. That was like only 4 episodes in. And I enjoyed it a little more. And then I saw the first few episodes of the third season. It's still fun to me. I mean, I don't mind ridiculous Chucky, but I can definitely see I know a lot of people fell off. And
also, like, the character, they're supposed to force that girl Lexi, to us give a shit about that character. That character had a shitty arc, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, like how she started off. Yeah, she was an absolute terrible human being.
And then they're trying to force her, like, oh, she's supposed to be against Chucky now after she's been an asshole for a few episodes.
Yeah, they take her arc even further, like, as it goes.
Yeah,
she starts spiraling out and stuff.
In season 2, she didn't really learn shit.
Yeah, I don't think
some people are like that too, though, aren't they? You know what I mean? Some people are like that too. It's like you run into them again, you're just like, God damn, this person. And then you run into them again 2-3 years later, and you're like, fuck, they didn't grow one bit.
That's why they did a lot of sequels and franchises where they don't learn shit.
I just don't understand, like how far do you think you can really take a killer doll and not have it to a point where it's like not played out and like not scary anymore? Like, it's really, for me, like it's gotten beyond that point for me a long time ago.
Yeah, that exactly. Around Bride of Chucky is when it really stopped being a scary doll, like, and got super ridiculous. Then it tried going back horror wise for Curse and Cult. And then it kind of just went like the Evil Dead TV show route of trying to mix the two of them together. Like,
Curse is good at bringing
the jokey one.
I thought. The Curse. I thought the first part of Curse, until the very end, when Jennifer Tilly comes back in, it's got a good creepy vibe to it. It captures it really well, I thought.
Oh yeah, and I love Fiona Dora, Brad Dourif's daughter. Fiona, she is a great actress.
I'll be right back. I gotta go grab a better light.
Okay, fine. But the movies I could watch. It's just the show. I don't really care for the show that much.
No, yeah, I can see that. I could see if people don't like the show like you don't. Like, you can just exclude its existence from your mind, also, and just be like, "Oh, it's not the film series," you know. So,
what's your thoughts on Alex Vincent returning as Andy?
I mean, he wasn't. I didn't think his performance in the first two movies as a kid were that great. Like, so I mean, him coming back, it's cool. But then, like, actually, it's funny because in a recent episode, something happened that it was so heavily like telegraphed that it's a dream sequence and stuff. And I was like, I really wish they actually did this and show some balls, and it had to do with Andy's character and stuff. But I mean, he's not a great actor or anything.
He's awful as shit.
Yeah, like he's not anything good as a kid, and now it's like I think he got worse maybe like as he got older.
He took a break after.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything from him except for him in Child's Play 1, 2, and then the show. Really, is like all I've seen Alex Vincent in.
And Curse and Cult.
Yeah, and then his little roles in those. Outside of Child's Play, I can't think of anything I've seen with Alex Vincent in it. So
I think that's what
that speaks volumes to like what I think of his acting.
I guess what they're afraid of with Brian Andrews, as far as coming back as Tommy and Halloween Kills, I think that's what they were afraid of. That's why he's the only one that doesn't get his role back. And is played by Anthony Michael Hall. I think maybe they might have checked him out, and I think maybe so they decided not to. That's the only reason I could think of why they didn't recast him.
Yeah.
And they also wanted Paul Rudd back in that Kills as well.
Man, that was weird, man.
That would have been actually. I don't care about the movies, the trilogy and shit, but I like 6. I like to a decent amount actually, and I would like to see Paul Rudd return. You know, like I like the producer's cut more, but if I could like edit it all together a bit, like I really like 6. It has like a very dark tone and very brutal Michael. I've always loved the Curse of Michael Myers.
Yeah. So yeah, my dishonorable mention was the Chucky show.
Okay.
That's the Curse of Michael Myers. That's where the franchise really dies for me. That's the last. Yeah, me too. That's like the last one I can tolerate.
Yep. Me too.
So I got one honorable mention here, and I believe this is from the 90s. No, this came out in 2002. And this, like, I mean, I did have this on my list, but I was like, this is kind of like, in my opinion, a little bit too obvious, so that's why I didn't really make my list, and that's Queen of the Damned.
Okay, I don't think I've seen it since it first came out, and I didn't care for it.
I picked up this Blu-ray at like a dollar store. It might have been Dollar General a couple years ago, and I gave it a watch, and I was like, "Fuck me, man, this is rough."
I remember the soundtrack more than the movie. It has a
she's good, but man, the Lestat sucks fucking ass. I can't stand him as Lestat.
It looks like a boring version of Interview the Vampire. That's why I got vibes and like it looked like a shitty version of that.
I mean, like another thing is too when you look at the film crew, like the director and everything. It's just like it's a bunch of nobodies. Like who are these people?
It's so
they
right.
must have known somebody and like got their foot in the door or something. Like none of these names I'm familiar with. Like who's this? Michael Reimer directed it. I
really think the soundtrack was heavily promoted with that movie. I wouldn't doubt people that had to do with the artists on the soundtrack, like were credited, helped with the movie.
I think it was like Marilyn Manson. I think Korn was on the soundtrack.
The soundtrack.
Maybe the Deftones or something.
Yep.
The soundtrack was crazy boring.
I wouldn't be surprised if they half sold that movie on the soundtrack by itself.
Yeah, because at that time, Korn and Disturbed and all them were the top bands around. You know what I mean?
Oh, so new metal, they called it back then, like all the 2000s bands.
But another one that I was like considering, like I can't find it in my collection right now. It's like kind of from the same era, and that's Stephen King's Dreamcatcher.
Oh,
that was going to be another one I was going to mention. Like,
that's a good pick. That's a terrible movie.
I watched it for the first time in years. It was last winter. I watched it. I remember like when I got I got through probably like the halfway point. That's when I was like, "Fuck, man, we almost done with this movie. Like, this is fucking terrible."
The CGI has not aged well for that film at all.
The only thing I remember about that movie was those little monsters coming out of the toilet. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's probably the best part of the movie. Like just watching them like deal with that whole dilemma with the fucking creature in the toilet. That's probably the best part of the whole movie.
Oh, it's funny.
But that would be my honorable pick or dishonorable picks, I should be saying.
You have a dishonorable pick, Keith?
Yes. And out of all the different Blumhouse looking that particular bullshit that they were doing there, I have to pick the first Annabelle, even over the Nun, maybe. No,
I don't like it either.
I like the Nun might be worse than the first Annabelle.
That
So I will say the Nun. No, Annabelle for my honorable. It was so disappointing. You know, next thing you know, you had this fucking goat, and I understood why they had the goat, but the goat sucked, and it just sucked dick, man, all over the place.
It looked like they reused that shit from Drag Me to Hell with the goat in that one.
That movie I adore.
Yeah, but Drag Me to Hell does it good. It's got a lot of good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Annabelle needs an old
one.
Yeah, Annabelle I don't like. Annabelle, I think the Nun is worse by far. But Annabelle is not good. Annabelle Creation,
the second
like a lot, actually.
The second Nun movie was boring as shit.
That was better, barely than the first. Like, just forget. I don't remember a goddamn thing.
Both movies were awful.
I don't remember a single thing from the Nun 2. So that just shows like how memorable it was.
Dude, I have the first Nun on Blu-ray, and it's still in the shrink wrap. I can't even find a desire to fucking pull it out of the shrink wrap and finally watch the movie. I still haven't seen it.
I might still be able to sell it if we're keeping the shrink wrap.
Yeah, right.
Do you think that there were terrible ideas to do those spin-offs after the Conjuring movies?
Probably.
For the most part,
probably was.
Like Conjuring 2 was my favorite. I love the first one also, and then Annabelle Creation. That's pretty much it. Like Annabelle Comes Home is a fun, even though it's just like a whole movie length trailer for future like creatures and movies from the Conjuring verse we'll probably get. But that's about it. Like
they still put them off correctly. You know, like I don't want them to spin off from Conjuring 2. You know, you got the Crooked Man. He's a cool ass.
That one we were supposed to.
Don't spin it off. I don't want them to because they fuck it up, man.
Yeah, they were supposed to do a spin-off with him, and then the project just got abandoned.
Think about what Annabelle and the Nun could be. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I mean James Wan is a fantastic director.
He didn't come back. He didn't come back for part 3.
No, and part 3 sucked to The Conjuring.
Because I think he was doing Malignant around that time.
And that one's I don't care for either, actually, Malignant. That's one of the few James Wan films that I don't care for. Malignant.
Yeah. That's what somebody so bad about the Nun and Annabelle. Because they had the foundation perfectly to be good, kick-ass, scary films if they constantly wasn't trying to jump scare and do everything that you're going to predict.
That's all it is. Yep. It's all jump scares. Just terrible jump scares throughout the whole movie. The Nun's plot is so boring. Nothing happens. It's just walking around for the entire fucking movie. And terrible. Like, it's just so bad. The second one, I don't remember anything from.
I was bored as hell with the second one as well. I was like skipping through the movie, like nothing's going on. It's just
that happens sometimes, rarely with me, but like because I always have to finish a movie no matter how bad. But there has been very few exceptions of movies that I had to like skip a few minutes ahead at multiple points in the movie just to be like, this has got to fucking keep like faster. Like in like reality, I have to move this movie along because this is just taking too long to conclude.
It's like shit. It's only been 20 minutes into it.
Yeah,
I still got an hour and a half left. Oh my god. We were fully chicken to see
exactly, like those types of feelings.
Oh yeah. All right. So what's your getting the top 5 now? What's your number 5 then, JT?
All right, we're officially starting this now.
Yeah.
Another more recent movie, and by recent I mean like 2000s forward, that I avoided this movie. Like another movie I'll mention for years since it first came out because of all the terrible shit that it got. And I love the original franchise. The second movie, Happy Campers, is my favorite in the series. Return to Sleepaway Camp from 2008 is so fucking awful of a movie. I was in such shock and awe of how bad that film was in every single way. Like, that was the movie I did early on this channel that I had like a meltdown, like talking about reviewing. Like, I was up like for mad hours and I had to download it. And for like since 2008, like 15 years, I've heard how terrible it was, avoided it like it was never existed. And then I was covering the series. I said, all right, let's finally watch this. I was so shocked how bad that movie is. Everything is awful, and that's all I want to say about it. It gets me mad actually when I think about it. Like,
dude, Return to Sleepaway Camp is like, that deserves to be mentioned in a list like this. Like, it's so good to see that somebody mentioned that, because I mean, like, I hate the movie so much that a lot of times I forget it really even exists. A lot of times I just think it's only the first three and that's it. And then, like, you know, I'll be on the internet looking at shit and I go, man, there goes that artwork for Return to Sleepaway Camp. Forgot about that movie. I always forget about it.
And also, they try to shove this lead to that you're supposed to feel bad, but he's just a bully himself.
Like,
he's just a
one of the worst characters ever in a movie. Like, I said this, like, I
like
had
he keeps saying the stupid line like, "Your ass stinks."
Yeah, your ass stinks. Your movie
what
stinks.
The hell?
It's so bad. And it's directed and written by the same guy who wrote the original and stuff, which blows my mind. Like, which I'm hoping Mutilator 2 isn't going to have the same fate when that comes out, because it's from Buddy Cooper, like the original. And I love the original Mutilator. Watch Mutilator 2 be awful.
I'll be pissed because that's a long sequel in the making.
Yeah, man, it was like 40-something years.
All right. Well, that's
almost 40 years. Yeah.
That's a damn good start, number 5, and I'll let you know in a couple of minutes why. Right. Juno, what's your 5?
My number 5, I'm gonna go with the Netflix Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Terrible movie.
That's a worthy one for the list, that's for sure.
I don't like it. An unredeemable piece of shit that I ever saw.
I agree.
The only props I would give the movie is that they use practical effects and some shots of the kills. That's it. I don't really like the characters. They're unredeemable jackass characters.
The ending I like with because I can't stand that fucking character. That girl.
Exactly. I love how
the characters are unlikable.
Stand her. I like her sister. What the hell? Whatever. And she has the whole school shooting background, which is cool, and like my favorite parts of that movie. And it's like not explored really at all. And then you just get all this dumb shit. And then they bring Sally Hardesty back, and it's just some random old actress that they bring back.
Some haggy-looking old chick. Yeah, I was like, man, what the fuck? Why even bring her back?
She literally just locks them in the car, and then just walks up to Leatherface and gets shot, hooked up and thrown literally into a pile of trash. And
that whole backstory is so fucking like far out and farce and just fucking oh my god, this doesn't work. As soon as you see her pop up in the movie too, if you're a fan of the franchise, you know who it is right off the bat, and it is like no, you fucking did it. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Like,
and they randomly have her like say like, oh, do you remember me, my brother Franklin? Like, Leatherface is like sitting there dumbfounded, like, who? I don't know who the hell you are.
Why would you remember anyway? You can't even remember if you ever brushed his teeth before.
Yeah, exactly. Everything about that movie is awful, except for like
that movie is awful as shit from start to finish. Like, dumb ass characters that are just very unredeemable.
Even though it's cool seeing them all getting chopped up and on the bus cancel thing, the guy holds up a phone and
do anything you cancel, bro.
Canceled. Are you fucking serious? Who wrote that scripted movie and that line specifically? Like, that's so dumb. That's what we need.
I could, like, for some reason, I could see them like scribbling something out and then putting that in canceled canceled scene. Scribbling something out to put that. Like, you scribbled something else out for that.
Oh, that's so dumb.
Maybe
Yeah,
they'll
like that
finally
movie
leave
is
the franchise
awful.
alone. Or maybe they'll finally leave it alone.
Yeah, because they did show the post credit where he's walking back to the house.
Oh, God.
I'm like, oh man.
Yeah,
hopefully they
that's
don't
right.
make
That's
more
with some
shit.
dumb cliffhanger. They just can't leave franchises alone. Same with Halloween. Like after Halloween ends,
They don't know how
a
to
lot of
create
us
new
are
shit,
hoping
man.
Police ended again for a while at least, and there's already the rights have been shopped.
Did you guys see the prequel to the Chainsaw Massacre before that Netflix bullshit?
Leatherface?
Yeah, that prequel.
That one's
Actually,
terrible.
I think that's the only Chainsaw movie I haven't seen is Leatherface. That one with Stephen Dwarf, I think, isn't it?
Stephen Dwarf.
That's the only one I
couldn't
haven't
save
seen.
the movie at all.
Yeah, that one's not good either.
Bad.
And 3D is fucking god awful, and that's not my franchise to begin with. Besides, like the first two, and the remake, which I adore the remake too.
Besides
yeah,
the 3D has one redeemable quality.
You know, I was looking at a couple I think it was like top 10 and top 20 worst horror films list, and I actually saw a couple of them mention Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. I thought it was a fairly decent film, especially for a
pretty good one. That was better than the prequel of Leatherface. That Leatherface movie.
Yeah, I think that the beginning is a very good follow up, prequel, but movies that followed up the remake. Like I got the same feel as the remake, like the same cinematography and look. Like it's not the best, but it's a good movie.
Because I got to see those two movies like the same on a Sunday. I got to see them like one by like on that day. It was like a couple of weeks ago, and I was like seeing like the beginning was better than the prequel because the prequel was boring as shit. Like nothing doesn't happen for that movie.
Well, take a minute.
And Stephen Dorff
Leatherface, you mean Leatherface prequel? Yeah.
Google up the worst horror films ever made. You'll be shocked at some of the shit that you see. Okay. I googled it and was like,
I googled too. And
I was doing it all day
today. On there, like,
there was like probably like 2 hours throughout today where I was like sitting on my phone, like, all right, I'm gonna type it in a different way, like, all right, 100 worst horror movie. I just kept like putting random numbers in there, like 50, 100.
Yeah, I checked too.
That's my number 5.
Some movies that are like, what? Like, I adore this film. Like, I know a lot of people do. What the hell are these people talking about?
Someone had Sinister in there, and I was like, are you fucking shitting me?
Yeah, I think I did see a list of like actual bad, like worst horror movies of all time when I was googling.
Yeah, definitely saw a couple Halloween 3s in there.
Yeah,
which is insane. That's my top.
Blair Witch 2. So I think I saw that at number 1 actually on one list.
I disagree with that one.
Blair Witch 2 is in my top 40 films of all time, also.
But Blair Witch 2 is damn good. I seen that at the theater. Yeah, and the theater was almost completely empty. But me and my brother enjoyed it. Always did, man. I love it.
I love it. I feel like it's getting more and more love every year.
It is. It's one of those.
Yeah. So number 5 was Netflix on my list.
All right, Sean.
All right. So coming in at number 5 for me, I decided to try to have a movie on my list here that I actually do enjoy, but I can admit it's an awful movie. It's probably up there as one of the worst as far as like storyline goes, but this is a low budget film. This film, like, I mean, you could tell that the cast and crew, like, they knew what they were making with this film and what they were going to get. And yeah, my number 5 is the 1987 film Street Trash.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I had to have this on the list. It's such a fun movie.
If I saw it, I do not remember a single thing. I guess I should be glad.
You ever see a movie called Slime City?
That sounds more familiar than Street Trash.
It's like in the late 80s, like there was like this really quick subgenre of like slime horror that was coming out. Like some films were using like, like fluorescent and like neon colors and like their effects work and everything. And it was only lasted for like 3 years, and then the 90s came around and that faded out. But Street Trash is like considered as one of those films. It's basically about like a bunch of bums that live in this fucking junkyard. It's like for like a junkyard for like cars and shit. And they end up like one of the bums comes across this liquor called Tenafly Viper, and if you drink this liquor for some reason, it makes your body fucking melt. And that's what happened. They end up like, you know, like they're buying the liquor because the bottles are only like $1 each, and they're bums, and that's the most money they have. So they're buying up the liquor, and next you know, the whole city's fucking melting down from fucking bums drinking this liquor. But dude, there's a lot of classic dialogue throughout the movie that makes it so fun to watch.
Yeah, people were loving it in the chat.
Street Trash is pretty decent.
Dirt says, "Holy shit, I love Street Trash."
Street Trash is it really is fun, but to look at Street Trash in reality, it really is a very bad film, but it is one of those good bad films that you can have fun with.
Guilty pleasure movie.
Yeah,
Blue says Street Trash is great. Bums literally throw around a severed penis and make a game out of it. That sounds interesting. I have to see it now.
Dude, put it this way: if you're a fan of horror films, you haven't seen Street Trash, you got to see it, dude. I mean, like, I mean, I don't think you guys can really notice it, but I actually went out and put a green case on this because there's so much green and yellow and red slime throughout this. Like you can't really notice it. It kind of looks clear, but it is a green case that I have on this thing. But very fun film. If you haven't seen that and you're looking for a movie where you can just have your, you know, shut your brain off for a little bit, that's a good one.
Those are always fun.
All right. Well, what I said here a couple minutes ago when I said hold on to that thought for the Turner Speedway Camp, well, that's my number 5 as well. I rented that as soon as it came out, and because I seen some of the cast had come back from the first one, and it's the same maker, and I was like, cool. And then about 10, 15 minutes into this thing, I was like checking the time.
Me too.
There's a big thing at the end there where I think it's Felissa Rose. She's the cop or something, isn't she?
The sheriff. I had to do an add-on video back then after that whole meltdown to explain the ending with her being the sheriff the whole time and how obvious it is and how it makes zero sense.
It looked bad.
Oh, that whole movie is just awful. Yeah, you know from the first second in the first scene when you see that sheriff that can't talk and he has a cancer stick to hide his voice and like a big ass nose with shades. It's an obvious disguise, and you know it's
almost like the Groucho Marx nose and glasses, and it's almost like the Groucho Marx.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, it's like the fake disguise, like glasses. That's how he
looks. Cheap ass disguise.
It's so obvious that this is Angela, like it's Julia, and so much of that movie. Oh, it's so bad. It brings back like bad memories. Like where I suffered.
But yeah, we've both taken time to rip on it now, and everybody understands. I'm sure everybody that's seen it understands too. So, what's your number 4 then, JT?
I wouldn't say worst ever, but like the quality drop from the first 2 movies that I love. These movies are awful, and Wishmaster 3 and 4.
Okay. Yeah, they saw Wishmaster and everything.
Like, and I.
So you're taking 3 and 4?
Yeah.
You're saying Wishmaster 3 and 4. Like I know in the past you told me, I've only I have the 4 film collection. I've only seen the first 2. I remember you said like, dude, don't even bother with 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And I took that seriously because you usually don't tell people to stay away from a movie. You'll find a way. Like it seems like sometimes you'll find a way to be a little respectful about a film before shitting on it. You were like, don't even watch that.
I rarely not recommend something unless I really think it's awful. But like those are just such bad. They're like what you said, Keith, at the very beginning of like leaving sci-fi like channel like level like movies. Like that's the level that those films are compared to like Sharknado and shit. Compared to Wishmaster 1 and 2, which I think are fantastic films, and Andrew Devoff is brilliant in those 2 films. Like we need a new Wishmaster movie with Devoff back as the gym. Right. Those 2 are just awful. And that's 2, but whatever.
The third movie, I like it was years ago. I got it at a thrift store, and I watched it. I was like, "Where the hell is Andrew Diefroff and this guy, this Wishmaster?" Like, I turned the movie off like 20 minutes in, like, what the fuck this shit, and I got rid of it.
Like, I don't even think they should have made that many Wishmaster movies. Like, I already think making 2 was stretching it. I think really, it really was.
I was glad to have Jack Shore, the director of 2, on and have the interview with him and talk with him, and he didn't really even want to do 2 either. Like, he felt like 1 was like good and it was there, and like, but they wanted a sequel to it, and they gave him like carte blanche so he can do whatever he wanted. So he's like, all right, so I can have fun with this like in my own way, and that's why.
Yeah, I know, but at the same time, like,
have no excuses to be there, like in existence, in reality, in any way.
I'm sure they also wanted to use him because at that time, by that time, he was like a seasoned director. He had experience under his belt at that time. Well, so I think that's another reason why he was considered for the job of directing.
I didn't know until I talked to him, but he was approached to do Gremlins 2, and he turned it down. And then Dante ended up doing it. I never knew that. That's wild. He didn't say.
I mean, it's really hard to say if the movie would have been different. I bet you know what? I bet you he would have had no control at all. He probably would have had no say. It probably would have been like a shut up and do your job kind of thing.
Dante got to do whatever he wanted with Gremlins 2, and it's because they wanted Dante back. And that's why I enjoy Gremlins. It's so walls to the wall. It's just Joe Dante's like most Dante movie.
It's also got Christopher Lee in it.
The sequel you're supposed to end up, you know what I mean?
And Gremlins,
you get a Bat Gremlin, you get a Spider Gremlin, you know what I mean? They did what you're supposed to do.
You ever see that Key and Peele skit about making your own Gremlin? That's hilarious. I'll send it to you guys after. That's so funny. It's like a skit like Key and Peele of them like pitching Gremlins 2 and saying everyone gets to make their own Gremlin, and then they go around. It's so funny.
What's going on, Cal?
Hey, what's up, Cal?
Cal says, look at that panel. Nice.
Thank you, Cal.
All right, Juno.
All right, my number 4. It's gonna be 2 movies.
Yeah, that's all right because I just named 2. So good.
Yep.
I have 2 at number 4 too. See, this is how hard.
Yep. So number 4 for me, it's Scream 5 and 6.
Ooh, 2 stabs right there.
2 stabs.
Oh,
yeah.
2 stabs for you.
I can't disagree.
I mean, I couldn't put them as worst horror ever.
Yeah.
Like, even and you guys all know how much I despise the whole series of Scream. Even the original movie, I don't like really at all. But like, even the original, I wouldn't put it. Like, people would expect that you hate Scream. Like, I wouldn't put any of them top worst horror. But it just has to end. Like, it has to end. Like, can't they end the series already? Like, it's become like.
I don't think there's enough to really ride on the Ghostface character, and I feel like it's been plummeted into the ground so fucking hard, and they're still trying to beat life out of it. Like,
and I know some people
some of the most obvious money grabs and cash grabs. Like,
I know some people are butthurt because that girl got fired from the new Scream movie.
And then Ortega leaving, that is a great decision on her part. I love her. Ortega. I think she was the best thing to happen to the series with 5 and 6. So I'm glad she left.
Yeah, the reason why I have it on my list is because I don't hate. I do not. I was disappointed with the 6th movie because I hated that they didn't use Kirby that much. I thought they wasted her in like a forgettable side character role. Like, they should have had her more.
She's great before, man. She
should have had her moment as a final girl.
Yes.
But 5, I just think it's a piece of shit.
It's a big drop.
I thought it was dirty when they killed Dewey. Like, that was fucking bullshit.
Kill Gale, not Dewey. I'm so fucking sick of Gail, man.
Yeah, it should have been Gail.
I've
instead.
never liked Courtney Cox, and I've never liked her character Gail. That's one of so many reasons I don't even like the first movie much. It's because of her.
I wish she was killed instead of Dewey.
I hate Dewey's character. I was clapping when he got killed in 5, 6, whatever the fuck it was. I can't stand his character. And they're in the hospital for like 15 minutes, and nobody's there. The janitor, no one comes around. Like I don't like hospital horror movies. That's why Halloween 2 went down for me over the years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do also. The other thing I don't like in Scream 5 is that they make Dewey a loser. Which I'm getting sick of this shit that they're doing in other movies. They made Indiana Jones a loser in that piece of shit.
I haven't seen any of the new Indiana Jones.
That was a woke piece of shit that I watched.
Brian Goes Blue says the later Scream movies are good for watching Courtney Cox's plastic surgery fall apart. Exactly.
Yeah, that's great.
Dude, I saw her on like that Friends reunion, the reunion thing, man. Like her lips look like they fucking just imploded like out of nowhere. Like what the fuck happened to your face, man?
Brian, I like your style, Brian.
She smiles, it doesn't change. You know what I mean? It's like her face. It's like she laughs and she's like,
Yeah, they look like catfish. You know, they like these celebrities, especially,
and also
like others who like change their faces, get surgery. They look like
catfish. And also, her character in the 6th movie, they made her more of a piece of shit in the 6th one.
Yeah,
because like
so fucking survived it.
She's like, she's attacking the 2 sisters for the murders, like going back to her own shit. Like, just made her more of a piece of shit. Like, she didn't learn nothing.
No, she's a stupid using ass bitch from day one.
And like she said at the end of the 5th movie that she was gonna do a book about Dewey. No, she goes and attacks with their bullshit book. Like, great conclusion.
Brian Goes Blue is mentioning Leprechaun 3. It's definitely a worthy one to be mentioned in this
Las Vegas, yeah.
You know, that's the one in Vegas. Is that the one in Vegas?
I think it is.
Yeah, that's the one in Vegas.
Last one I've seen in the series. I never saw.
You know what? I forget now. She's either in part 2 or part 3.
I've seen 2, and I know I've seen 3, the Vegas one, but
which one?
Very long ago.
4 is the hood and 5 is in space, right?
Yeah, then back to the hood. And I never saw anything past the 3rd one.
The one I do laugh a lot is the hood one, the first hood one. I just laugh how bad it is and entertaining of how stupid it is.
That's like a fun, terrible movie. Like those are like those.
But part 4 going to space, that's not fun. That's just not fun.
And also Origins, which is what the hell is that?
You can make a whole list just out of those, man. That and some of the Amityville movies.
Origins,
and the Puppet Master films. Oh God, how I love them.
That was that Origin Leprechaun movie was awful.
I heard bad things about it.
They pretty much they don't even really show he's a leprechaun. It's just he's just like a shitty version of sci-fi quality version of Pumpkinhead.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is.
It just looks like this random Yoda goblin.
Yep.
It seems like called an Origin. Pumpkinhead. Usually said it's called Origin. It was over right then.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, right. What a fucking name for that too.
All right. Where are we at? Are we at number 4 for you, Sean?
Yeah, that was number 4. I said Scream 5 and 6.
All right. So, my number 4. All right, coming in at number 4 for me is a movie that is 40 years old today. I mean, not today, this year. I mean, the fuck, not today. But yeah, this is a franchise film here, and this is the 1983 film Amityville 3D.
Oh man, I seen it in the theater. There's one funny ass part in that movie.
That is
man.
a bad one.
You know when the elevator's falling, and next thing you know, they shark get stuck to the top of the fucking roof.
Yeah. That's funny. I haven't seen
that cover is very cheesy with a big hand coming out of the house.
Like I remember,
it's so on the nose.
Like the one video store I would go to, they actually had like a real cheesy lenticular VHS cover for this, and like if you moved it, the hand came out and shit. And...
That's the last Amity film that I've seen.
Yeah,
and they came out.
Or any of the ones after that, or have any desire to.
The one that I just think is laughably bad is the one with the lamp. The evil lamp from what's it called? Amityville 4: The Evil Escapes.
Oh, I don't even know how many there are.
I know Vinegar Syndrome like released like a slew of those movies,
and that's one of the movies.
Like,
they have like
acting in dog shit.
Dollhouse. They have one in space. They have
that
makes sense.
In the Hood.
I think there's one about like a grandfather clock or something like that, like a haunted grandfather clock.
They just take like horror.
That's a tagline.
Scripts and throw Amityville in, and
They
it's like with Hellraiser, with the later Hellraiser scripts.
They put Amityville in the
another
Hood.
thing that really sucks about this movie is it's in the 80s, set in the the 80s era of gore and slasher films and creature features. And then you got one here that is rated PG-13, trying its best to get kids involved into it without letting kids into R-rated movies. So let's tone it down a little bit. But that's just not going to help your franchise going backwards. Like I mean, like in my opinion, the best one in that Amityville franchise is Amityville 2: The Possession. Like that.
Yeah, I have that on my list.
That movie really that movie haunted the hell out of me when I first saw that at a young age. And seeing this at a young age, like it's seeing this at a young age was like the hell. Like it was like I'm. I really wasn't allowed to watch many horror films when I was a kid anyway, but I was almost like really surprised it was so easy for me to see a movie this cheesy, especially coming off a movie that terrified the shit out of me, and then to go to something like that. But I don't know. I really didn't have Amityville 3D on my list. It really just made my list like last minute, and yeah, it's just overall it's got to make my list though.
And Jaws 3D came out that year for Amityville 3D.
Yeah, Amityville 3D is like a part of that experimental thing with 3D in the 80s. So that's one of the experimental films, I guess you could say. But yeah, good call on that.
I agree though with Possession. Amityville 2 is the best in the series.
That's the best one. Very underrated
movie and sequel in general.
He's fucking his sister and everything else.
Yeah, the weird that goes there. It goes weird places, the incest and
that movie.
Yeah, dude, I like all that shit though.
Acted by like just some some Italian director, and like it makes sense. You know that
Tommy Lee Wallace was involved in the script as well.
Yeah, and Burt Young played the father. He just passed away this year.
Yep.
And I live 5 minutes, 10 minutes max from Amityville. I've had a short I did with visiting the house the best I could.
A lot of people say that movie is like a rip-off of and a lot of people think it's a rip-off of The Exorcist. To me, it's its own thing. Like it doesn't fully rip off The Exorcist.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's not even words right there.
And it is on my all-time favorite movie.
It's actually a pretty effective possession scene, actually.
Yeah.
Gruesome. It's like a very gruesome possession scene. I mean, like his shit falls off and he becomes the demon.
That scene where he's like looking through the basement, that is the scariest shit ever. Like where the demon's following him and you have the camera going over him. That's some impressive shit. Like they must be lifting the camera to go over him and spin the camera around.
No, that's a lot of great creative.
It's not like that. I think that shot was probably on a crane.
Yeah, that's like
it might have been on a crane because for them to like really lift that would be like a 2-man operation. So it might have been on like a crane.
Might have something that they put together themselves too. You know what I mean? So sometimes like the first Steadicam was just something that what's his name in The Shining just kind of threw together, and it just ended up being named after it.
Those are impressive.
That's the same time period too. The Steadicam just came out like a couple years before that. Before it was. I think the Steadicam was late 70s when that came out.
Yeah, because Evil Dead with Sam Raimi, all his amazing camera work and stuff, he didn't have a Steadicam. They couldn't afford one for the first film, and he had to get inventive with all the camera work. And look how that is.
Wow,
Halloween used the Panavision version.
Yeah.
Now I can't say for sure if Black Christmas does, but it looks like they have to. like it's coming from the chest area. You know, when he's climbing up that house?
Yeah.
It looks like it's coming from the chest area. So, like, it really looks like it is a Steadicam setup.
Might have been just
I don't know enough about cameras.
Well, I just don't know. I don't know enough of, like, if that's like a for sure thing. I don't know if they definitely filmed Black Christmas with a Steadicam or not.
I don't think it was a Steadicam, but I think it was a rig that they hooked up because on one of the making of talking about it, they discussed that. And I don't remember exactly what they said. I'll check it out.
Yeah. Like I don't like I remember watching the features on the Blu-ray. I don't remember hearing anything about a Steadicam. But you can tell from those shots when you focus in on those opening shots. It's like, you know, you can see it's coming from the torso area as he's climbing up that vine and getting into the attic.
Yeah, but those filmmakings
just been rigged around somebody because it moves, like it shakes. Like,
and I bet that's probably different.
I just watched it.
All it is a cam that can kind of rotate and move freely with your movement. And the first versions of that were just rigs.
Yeah, it basically it follows your movements while heading forward is what it does.
Yeah. It doesn't turn the wrong way and shit by the way you're turning. It goes with you. It just kind of rotates, kind of like I don't know, best thing to compare it to, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but Amityville 2 has badass filmmaking shots. Gotta agree with that.
Like I'm thinking about that right now. Like I can see that scene in my head that you're talking about, Juno, with that camera going over his back, and then it goes right under that door, and like finally we're right into that we're in the worst part of the basement.
And it's a great representation of him seeing the demon because you don't see him in form because we're the audience looking at the person like getting haunted by the demon because he's getting like over him and chasing him through the house.
Right. And they're also not clear shots either. You might not see them right away. Like you really have to focus, especially in the basement with how dark it is.
Yeah, it looks dark in the basement. Like,
that's the director's name, Dirk Damiano Damiani. I knew it was something like the same with the two ending letters being different.
No, I think that was the same guy who directed the Exorcist ripoff for Beyond the Door.
Okay.
I think he directed it.
I know what you're talking about, the movie. I don't know if it's the same guy. Might be.
Apparently he's going under an American name. I don't know, but
I probably could have talked a little longer, Junebug. So I mean, if you ever want to do a part 2, you know, we can do that. Because I've still got tons of shit to say that I didn't get to yet.
Yeah, see, Chris C is here, the slasher dude. What's up, Chris C?
What's up, Chris C? And Junebug.
Hey, Junebug.
Well, my number 4 is I had to go remakes one time, and I had to do it simply because the one of these it was remade from is one of my favorites, and what they did was ridiculous. That's The Fall, 2005, I think, or 6, and then Prom Night simply because it's just I don't know. It's such a product of its time that it just makes me want to
awful movies, man. Remakes.
Yeah, Prom Night, I thought of. That was one of the first ones I thought of, like remake wise. And I'm not a huge fan of the original Prom Night. It's a great slasher, but I'm not a big fan of it. Yeah. But the remakes,
I prefer Terror Train.
It's just awful. Yeah.
Terror Train. I'm not a big fan of Prom Night either, actually. The original Prom Night, I find like it's. Like, original Prom Night opens up fairly well, and then it just dies off real fast. It just becomes a dull event. I don't know.
You know what the killer is the whole time, you know?
Yeah. The second one,
like, once like Leslie Nielsen's gone from the film completely, like it's really like it's official at that point. Like, all right, you're in for a shit show.
Yeah, it goes down.
That soundtrack, man, never leaves your brain. Prom Night.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean that goes on for quite some time. Yeah.
What you guys thought on the second one?
The rest of the movie.
Prom Night.
Everything is all right.
Yeah, fuck.
What's your guys' thoughts on the second one?
I like it better than the first one. Hello, Mary Lou.
The Hello Mary.
Oh no, I actually agree with that, and I really want to see a Blu-ray for fucking Prom Night too, because I'm tired of the fucking shitty ass Mill Creek DVD that I have that looks like dog shit.
I like the first.
They haven't released a Blu-ray yet too.
I enjoy the first Prom Night. It's just, you know who the killer is and that fucking soundtrack. Now, the coolest character in the first prom night, man, is Slick. Slick is fucking awesome. You got this goofy ass guy. He's got this van, and he just said, "I'm Slick," and she's like, "Yeah, I can see it." Like, he is so not Slick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had so much respect for him because what a set of balls on this guy to call him so slick and to be a player like that when he is so not a player.
Like, I mean, don't get me wrong though. Like, I still enjoy prom night on like a certain level. I still have it in my collection. It's just not really a movie that I watch very often.
Yeah, prom night. It's kind of like not like the best slasher movies because there's better slasher movies that came out around that time. Like you said, Terror Train. Was it the Halloween, Black Christmas?
That was 1980 that those came out.
I agree, Sean, 100%, Sean, because like there are just so much more slasher films I liked so much better and watch so much more often. Because the biggest thing for me in the 80s for slashers in the 80s is the gore and the kills.
But the remake,
the gorier, the better the kills, the better and stuff. And like, there's a lot of those movies that are very tame and on the kills, or effects work, and like Graduation Day. You know, like, there's a whole bunch of them that just don't reach the same level for me that favorites do. Like Pieces.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Graduation Day at all. Like, I actually gave that movie like a couple tries. I even bought it on Blu-ray and then I sold it immediately. I remember I bought the Blu-ray, I watched it, and I was like, still does nothing for me. I'm going to officially get rid of this for the second time in my collection.
It's not good.
And the full remake, I love it's in there. The full remake is because I love the original so good, and they so did not recapture not a bit of it.
It was a snooze fest.
I don't remember how much it even deviates from the original because I haven't seen the remake since 2008 when it came out. But I remember hating it and just never saw it again.
It dives into the Blake character, and it goes back in time and shows all that shit when that shit happened. A bunch of stuff that we don't really care to know about.
Like that remake was snooze fest. Like when I was watching it as a kid, like I was just bored as shit, and I just fell asleep on the movie. And I woke up, seen the movie finished.
We know Blake got fucked over. We know that. Now tell us the shit that he's doing now. That he's all pissed now. Show us that.
And they don't even have. It doesn't even have that badass Carpenter score. They gave it like a cool feel to it.
And the cast is like so much not nearly as good.
It's a mediocre cast.
A bunch of people of that time frame that were somewhat popular for that year or two. So
just like how when Graduation Day, like Christopher George, who I love, he can't even save that movie for me.
Yeah, that's right. He was in that.
Yeah, he plays the cop.
He had a hell of a couple of years there, man. He did.
I know. I love
Graduation Day and Mortuary.
Mortuary, yeah. City of Living Dead.
All right. Top three. Where do you fall at number 3, JT?
Let me see. I just had it one in my head, and then I completely forgot about it. But Jeepers Creepers 3 was absolutely dreadful in every single way too. That's another one recent that I never watched until I started the channel, and then covered the series, and then did it. I heard terrible things ever since it came out. Avoided it like the plague, same as Return to Sleepaway Camp, and it turned out the exact same way. I watched that and I was just appalled, like how bad it was. And even I'm not a huge fan of that whole franchise to begin with, because the first one's the only great one in my opinion. The second one's all right, but it's very the pacing's all over the place. 3 just is dreadful. It's like almost no redeeming qualities for that movie. Same with Reborn, actually, too. Like Reborn, the same thing. That movie sucks.
Reborn was bad.
Very,
That's what we expected from Reborn. because they were talking it up like crazy. It's bringing back like the first one was.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
It's like bullshit. It's even worse than the last. What do you mean?
Yeah, like I don't remember, but like, both of them, they're like one. I can't pick which is worse. They're like both terrible, like just as
But
bad.
what's it called? Like they had the story. They had the story that they were like gonna bring back the original characters. They're gonna go back to fight Creeper 23 years later. They don't do that. It's like this weird ass movie where it's like supposed to be the middle sequel to the after the first and the second one.
Yeah, and it doesn't fit together like really well at all. Like there's a lot of plot holes there.
Hell?
With it fitting between the first and second one, that doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And Reborn as the whole escape room thing, which my boy Mike at the Real Fit Beetle called that like last year, like right before it came out, like 6 months before it came out. He saw my rant on it. He said, "Watch Jeepers Creepers 4 Escape Room," and then I saw it and I said, "Dude, that's so scary how close you were." Because there's an actual escape room in this movie. Oh, they're so bad, both of them. They're like, another like sci-fi level movies that they even tried pushing them out into theaters for like one night events, like extended it a few times just to try and make something like back, some type of money back from those movies. And then they'll be on sci-fi. Like, they go on sci-fi like right after.
Yeah, the Sci-Fi Channel plays them all the time.
Yeah,
how bad they are.
They took such a great like first movie that deals with like, it's obviously based on like the Jersey Devil, and I'm big into cryptids and conspiracy theories and all stuff like that. And it also like it comes around every so often, 20-something years to feed. It's a great concept, and the creepo look great, and it's a good movie. And then just everything. They fucked it like after that. And then of course it does. It never impacts like how I feel about a film, like the director, whoever's involved, about them. But like there's the whole thing with him being like a child molester, the director and stuff, and so that's like not good, right? Like either.
Yeah, I always just say fuck the director, like shit. But I just watch the movie as it is.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You have to separate them. Junebug, you talking on here how you never seen any of them because of Victor Salva. Fuck Victor Salva. You have to separate them. You have to.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna find
it's like look at Roman Polanski. Like what happened?
Woody Allen. I know because I saw a documentary about him being a piece of shit. But I separate and see his movies.
Most people are. If we wouldn't watch anything because the director or creator was a piece of shit, we wouldn't be watching anything.
Yeah, for sure, absolute certain.
We wouldn't have channel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is so true.
All right, so I guess we're up to you, Juno, with number 3.
Yeah, for number 3, I'm gonna pick. I pick. If you want to know what is the most boring version of Diary of the Dead, it's Zombie Diaries.
Those are.
I even saw it.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3
it's that bad that you never seen it because it is the most boring zombie movie that I have ever seen. And it has a bullshit cover where it false advertises more than Jason Takes Manhattan. You're expecting like this action movie where this guy holding a badass shotgun, like he's about to kill zombies around like Resident Evil. You don't get that. It's just a shitty, boring found footage movie where nothing doesn't happen. You only get like glimpse of shitty makeup of zombies, and that's it. No gory violence, nothing, no guts or nothing, no kills.
I mean, I love a decent amount of found footage. Once you hop into that genre, then you're opening up the pool of terrible.
It is a boring version.
Way open. Yeah, like Diary. I do like Diary of the Dead.
Yeah, but Zombie Diaries is the most boring film I've ever seen, and it's like a crappy version of Diary.
Yeah. All right. Very cool. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Sean,
I remember now. All right, for the next one.
All right, we're on number 3 now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 3, man. This is definitely one of the first ones that came to mind for me with this one, but yeah, this one unfortunately falls in the middle. I'm sure some of you guys would agree with me, and yeah, this is a sequel to a very classic film, and this is the 1977 film, The Exorcist II: The Heretic.
Yeah. I knew it would get brought up for sure.
It really is like as soon as like I thought of the topic, it was like lingering in my mind right away. The Exorcist too. Yeah.
They play this
So much
random
wrong
music.
with the movie, and just like the fact that Warner Brothers just spent their money in the wrong direction with set pieces and everything, and getting certain big actors in the movie, and then not putting money in certain another certain areas for other actors, and then it's overall just like I remember from watching the special features on this. There's like an interview on here with Linda Blair, and she's like really explains her experiences with the film. And I forget the priest in the movie, the actor. I forget that guy's name, but apparently he was a big deal. He was like a big deal actor. I'm really not familiar with the guy, but she was aware of his like filmography, and she was like, I'm doing this movie because I know how popular this guy is, and I know how important it is for a young actress like me to be working with a guy like this. And unfortunately, they end up having a scene towards the end of the film where it looks like Reagan is trying to seduce the priest, and like her to actually deal with that on like a realistic level and to go through that. She said that the opposing actor, that the guy who played the priest, apparently like he like walked her through everything, and she's like, without him, I don't think I ever would have been able to get through that movie. She's like, I wanted to walk up to that film so many different times, but he's the reason why I kept going with it. But it's just unfortunate what the final product was for The Exorcist 2, but just what it is, man. Like I mean, I have the Screen Factory Blu-ray here because I bought this like a year ago. I was like, let's give it a fucking chance. This thing was on sale. It was like under $20. I bought it, dude. It was one of those situations where I kept looking at my phone and I was like, we fucking done yet or what? Man, it was really just, it's that bad for me.
It's definitely very long. And yeah, The Heretic is like, it's even quoted a lot as one of the worst horror movies of all time. So I knew it would come up for sure. And some in the chat also knew. I think it's a terrible film. But it did try a lot of different stuff, and I think it's a very ambitious movie. I think there's some good stuff buried like deep down, like so deep down in that script that if you reworked it somehow, there could be a good movie. But it just everything went wrong.
Cast wanted to do,
It's just not. It's terrible. It's not.
They had a pretty good
some kind of potential there. You could tell, like with the story, there is potential there, but it just goes every fucking wrong way that it can.
Yeah,
it really does.
It's just like a stew that just has like all the worst ingredients in it, but with some good ones, and you just can't separate.
It has all the.
I mean, it's also funny to hear Linda Blair like complaining about tap dancing, like her own tap dancing scene, and she's like, I had to do stuff that I didn't want to do, but I just bit my tongue and did it. And
well, remember, she made the first one, so she's making this second one, thinking this is not going the same way at fucking all. This is not going to be.
The only thing that's working out for her is her pockets are filled with cash. That's the only thing she's getting out of this.
The movie has a great
experience and some cash,
but the movie's boring as shit.
Yeah, all the stuff.
It is so dull and uneventful, and the set pieces don't help to convince me that I'm watching something that's taking me out of my fucking realm at the time. Like it's like you see like these like styrofoam rock walls and everything. It's like, no, we're supposed to be in a desert, not in a fucking movie set. Guys, it's just so obvious that we're on a movie set. Like, what the fuck?
I hate that. That's such a pet peeve of mine. When you can obviously tell that it's a set. I can't. I hate that.
Especially from like a big studio like Warner Brothers. That just shouldn't be happening in 1977. No, that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
Yes, she was.
It looks like when those type of movies that you can tell it's shot. It looks like it's shot back on the back lots of Universal, or like one of those big ass studios.
But it is funny to say, like earlier on, before we actually started the top 5, I saw Austin was like, I know The Exorcist 2 is going to be on Sean's list, and he was right.
I knew
he definitely called that before I went out and called it.
As soon as Pazuzu was a flying grasshopper, I knew we was fucked.
Even freaking was like, what the F is this shit?
Locust
outfit.
It's
like, such a waste for James Earl Jones too.
Yeah.
I can't even say if like his performance is good, but it's like what a waste of a good actor and fucking The Exorcist too.
Imagine
pretty good cast.
James Earl Jones when they pitched it to him and be like, all right, get this, we're gonna put you in a locust costume. And, and then like the fact that he said that sounds great, sign me up. Like I don't know how they push some of those ideas.
$1 million? No problem. Where do I sign?
Yeah, there's just too much happening. There's too many ideas for it to make sense, so it will be good in any way.
He started drinking again during making that. I do believe is what they said.
Yeah, but coming in at number 3 for me is definitely The Exorcist 2. Like that really was like I didn't know where it was going to settle on my list right away. I just knew it was going to be on there. So
me too.
Yeah, good pick.
All right. My 3 is well for my honorable mention. I mentioned Annabelle. So number 3 has to be The Nun, and it's because it was completely I predicted everything. It's like now look. Like you remember when what's her name? Farmiga is her daughter is walking through here, and you hear something, you see something go across here, and she looks right here. Mm-hmm. I knew the second she turned around, the motherfucker was gonna be right there behind her. Right. It's like the whole show. This.
That's how predictable these movies have become on the jump scares.
Every time.
Totally ignorant to the audience too. Like, how stupid do you think people can be? Especially people that don't see them watching movies like that.
Especially the rule of 3 that always happens with jump scares. That they'll look away once.
Yep.
They'll look away twice in the pan and there's nothing. They'll look away, and then the third time, it's always on the third time. Like the rule of 3 for jump scares. It's always there. And like I actually like, even if it's not a good jump scare and it breaks that rule and like on like a first or second look, like it pops it out. I give it some credit there, but at
it's
least
so predictable.
Yeah, it really is.
It becomes so predictable. You see it like you're like, all right, we did the second take. All right, what's going to be the third one? It's going to be something different this time, isn't it? It's coming, isn't it? Like, yeah, we fucking know, dude.
It's just gotten so overused. There's so many tropes in horror that, like, especially hauntings and demon possession films and supernatural movies that have just been beaten into the ground. The being dragged off camera by a spirit. That's been used so much. A rocking chair moving back and forth on its own, like the doors.
I would like to see more possession films. Like nowadays, I would like to see more graphic possession films. Like I don't even care how it's done. I would just like to see more bloody possession films.
Did you see When Evil Lurks from this year?
No,
that's my favorite horror movie of the year.
Awesome. I was going to watch.
Is that a Shudder movie? Somebody was recommending that to me. I think it's a Shudder movie or something.
Yeah, it's on Shudder. Yeah.
I think Brad over at 4K Tent Revival. I think he was telling me about that.
That movie's great. It's a Spanish movie. It's from Argentina. And did you ever see Terrified?
That's right. He did mention that. He did mention it was a Spanish film. It's the same one then.
Yeah, he did Terrified from 2017. That was also a Shudder movie. But yeah, amazing, like a great different take on the whole possession thing.
Excellent. It just goes to show that you can still do some new.
Oh yeah, exactly. You just gotta look, and like these indie filmmakers and small filmmakers have to be supported, and these movies have to be.
Did you ever get to see Nefarious, JT?
Which one?
Nefarious.
No, I haven't seen it yet. I have heard about it though.
I like Nefarious.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a decent film. I still need to give it a second watch, but I thought it was a decent film.
I've heard say good things about it. So it's added to my long growing list.
I enjoyed it.
But I wonder if RLJ Entertainment is going to release that movie now because it's a Shudder movie. When Evil Lurks, you said?
Yeah. Well, I know IFC distributed it theatrically when it was in theaters, and then Shudder streamed it.
Well, I'm going to keep an eye out for a Blu-ray, but hopefully that'll get a physical release from IFC or probably RLJ Entertainment.
I'm sure it might, because a lot of people are putting it up there like the best or one of the best horror movies of the year. So I'm sure, like, I don't know if Terrified from his last movie from 2017 got a physical release. It might have, but this one I would think would if Terrified for some reason didn't.
Russell, Russell's mentioning Conjuring 4 is coming out next year.
Yeah,
they're doing a fourth movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me though, because what did they do? Like 2 spin-offs already? Like, may as well fucking murder that one into the ground a little bit more.
I heard that it was like this next one is going to be The Conjuring 3, because the last one isn't called The Conjuring 3. It's called The Conjuring the Devil. Maybe do.
Oh, about the Arnie guy.
But then I heard that, so I don't know if now it's called 4 and they just abandoned all that. But I'm pretty sure James Wan is going to direct it.
Oh, he's coming back,
unless they change it. But like, I'm so sick of the Warrens and their scam artist selves and seeing them in all these horror movies, like with the Warrens. I can't with them.
Yeah, Dirk says 8.5 out of 10 for When Evil Lurks. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's around. Yeah, on Letterboxd, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. So around there. Like, it's great.
And Russell says JT Terrified was great. Yeah, Terrified was.
Oh, you liked it, Russell? Good. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, it's a good one. There's some great imagery in Damien Rugna, the director's films, in both of those movies.
Who's number 3 are we at?
I think I just got done.
Sean just finished, yeah.
No,
I think you mentioned the Nun.
Yeah,
yeah. It's key.
All right. I remembered the one that I was going to say last time. This again, like, it is a terrible movie, but I love this movie. So whatever. The Full Moon Picture, The Killer Eye. This movie is like just absolutely insane. It has Jacqueline Lavelle, who's just a goddess. She was in Hideous, another Full Moon Picture, and another one, and Head of the Family also. She was in all those 3 like back to back to back, and just looking beautiful as always. She's the best thing about all those 3 movies. But it's just this big like 10-foot eye that gets brought into our dimension from a scientist. And he doesn't really even kill people. He's more of like a rapist eye, and he molests and like rapes like the women in the movie. It's so out there. The script's ridiculous. The acting is terrible. I mean, Lavelle does all right, but that's mostly just because she's gorgeous looking. But it's such a fun movie. Like, if you've seen enough Full Moon Pictures, you know that the type of movie it is. Like, and with the name The Killer Eye, like, you know exactly what to expect too. But I mean, it's a bad movie. But
yeah, you say it with such a huge smile on your face, which tells me you had a great time.
Yeah, it's just so out there, and I love movies that just go out there.
Number 2, most terrible is this, and it was great. That's what you need, though. One. That's fun.
Yeah, like that's the difference between my last few and a fun one that's very bad as well, that I actually can enjoy and laugh and throw it on.
All right, Juno?
For my number 2, it's going to be one of the most boring remakes that I ever saw, and it's Nightmare on Elm Street 2010.
Good. I'm glad that one got mentioned. I thought about that one, but I'm glad somebody mentioned it.
I just thought of it when last time we were talking Prom Night, the remake, a little bit ago. I thought of other remakes, and I thought of Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, that's one.
You got to have this one on the list because
what a waste for him as an actor, man.
Yeah, he's a great actor. Yeah, he's a great actor.
Pickup's wrong. The cast is wrong, all except for him. And of course, you got Clancy Brown in there.
Clancy Brown, but they're just wasted.
Oh yeah,
The best thing of that movie is the end credits being the Everly Brothers. All I want to do is dream.
That was a great song.
That's the most clever part of that whole movie for me. And you have to sit through the entire film just to see the end credits. You can just YouTube and listen to the song.
That's like the only worthy thing about the film is the song and the credits.
Yeah, it's like, that's the perfect choice of a film of a movie for a nightmare.
Because that song does fit Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, like it's the perfect choice for a film. I keep saying film for a ending credit song for a Nightmare on Elm Street film. So like that's the only thing. Though. Like everything else is awful.
Yeah, all I know is boring. I have every film in that franchise except for the remake in my collection. That is the only film I will never own.
Same here.
Yeah, no.
I fell asleep on the movie because it was just so damn boring. I did like the first half.
Just like them, huh?
I did like the first part in the diner scene. That was cool, but I just felt like after that, the movie just fell on his ass, and it just became a boring remake. Some of the actors were not that good in the movie. That were remake characters from the original.
Even from some.
I'm not going to make excuses for people, but there was a lot of young actors in that movie, like Rooney Mara. Rooney Mara, like she was a young actress at that time. She's definitely blossomed into a way better actress today. But yeah, she wasn't even in her prime yet in that movie. She was still like, I think she was like her early 20s in that movie, something like that.
All over that movie. She shits all over it, man.
Yeah,
I think that's her name. Rooney Mara, is that her name?
I think she played the main chick. The main chick who plays Nancy.
Yeah, she's like in the Rooney Mara's the remake.
Yeah, her name is Rooney Mara.
I think you're right because for some reason when I did a video on it, I thought that it was Mary Elizabeth Winstead, like from my memory.
I wish it was her in that movie.
I wish it was too, because it would have made it much better in the acting like department.
Nothing against the actress.
I was talking about her in the video for like 3 minutes about her career and stuff. And then I start the movie, and then it's like, wait, she's not in this movie. That's how it is, right, Rooney Mara?
Yeah, it is Rooney Mara. Yeah, like I was sometimes I don't know. Like I'm only 40 years old, but I'm not as sharp as I used to be. Sometimes my memory slips me.
Nothing against the actress, but I wasn't impressed with her performance. I thought she sucked in her performance.
Yeah, it's an experience. An experience with a bad script.
Yeah.
You know, it's recipe for disaster.
You got that one dude that's with her too, the one that's trying to refill his Adderall or whatever. This guy looks completely unenthused. He's there like
I know
he looked like he'd been awake for a few days. You know?
I know. I know exactly what you talk about.
But everything was bad about the act. The acting was shit. The movie was boring as hell. The look of Freddy Krueger was awful. It was nothing against. Jack O'Haley was good. It's just the CGI crap they put on him was awful.
He didn't have anything to work with. He brought the character. It's just there was no look.
The makeup's terrible on him.
The only part that I did like in the movie,
which The Burning did a better job than that.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah. And Dylan's New Nightmare, the fan film sequel to Wes Craven's New Nightmare, the Freddy makeup in that looks great. And the guy who played Freddy, it's only a half hour long, but the Freddy in that is good. Like he actually like looks and sounds like Freddy, like compared to the makeup, especially the makeup in the remake, and just how it doesn't sound and look like Freddy. They nailed it with Dylan's New Nightmare.
Yep.
But it goes to show, like, there's just some horror icons that you can't replace. Yeah. Like, Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger.
The only part that
just let it go.
Yeah. The only part I didn't mind in the remake was the prequel stuff. Like, cause I did thought it was like pretty cool to see how they burned Freddy Krueger, but I did hate when they went to the stupid opposite where they reveal who he was.
Yeah.
They should have just done this instead where is he innocent or not? They should have done that instead. But they just fully just went on saying that he's a child molester. Like what?
And they made him a pedophile. He was never a pedophile in the original film.
They fucked that up.
Child murderer. Like all that addition of that, it's just like, what the fuck are they thinking with that? Like someone thought they had said, you know what, this movie needs. How can we make Nightmare on Elm Street fresh and new for the new generation?
Yeah.
We need to make Freddy Krueger a fucking pedophile. You know, that'll sell. Like
Well,
I
I mean,
can't imagine that business meeting.
Wes Craven's original idea for Freddy was that he was that filthy child
I
molester.
remember. And then they went against
But
that
he
and didn't
decided
use
not to
it.
go
And
with
then
that.
I'm glad, and a lot of people are that they didn't.
I'm glad they
And then
changed
for
that.
them going back to that, it just shows I'm glad that they didn't again, because it just doesn't work for
Then
me.
they couldn't decide. It was like, well, we'll make it to where he did, and then he did. And it's like,
Yeah,
I'm not sure they ever decided. I'm not sure they ever decided if he did it or not.
Yeah, I don't, because they didn't want to commit, because they know it wasn't the right decision back then. It's not the right decision ever, like for Freddy's character.
Not ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're
Yeah,
at,
that remake was just boring.
I mean,
as
he's
shit.
already
That's my number 2.
a savage child killer who then kills teenagers in their dreams.
Mhm.
He's already like evil enough. He doesn't have to like be a molester of children too. Like on top of it, that's like overkill.
I have this poster of Freddy's Dead right here. I could watch that a million times over that piece of shit remake.
Oh yeah, actually, when I did the series, six was the one. Like after 3, I don't care for that much. 2's my favorite in the franchise.
Exactly.
But like 4 or 5 went down a lot the last time I rewatched the whole series, and 6, while terrible, it's fun.
It's at least funny.
Yeah, like it takes itself not seriously at all, and so you can just have fun with it. It's like the
I would rather
Witch
watch
of the
that than
West,
the
Wizard
remake.
of Oz shit in it. Like there's a lot of like the video game kill. Like there's some fun stuff in Freddy's Dead.
And then in the remake, what's interesting about the remake? Nothing.
Yeah, I know. There's nothing new. It's terrible. Good pick though.
Yep, number 2 is the remake.
All right, Sean.
Is it my turn?
Yep, number 2.
Number 2. All right. Got some candy. Hold on.
Mikey's Morgue in the house. What's up, Mike?
What's up, Mike?
Yeah, he's asking, hey everyone, tell me the movies I missed. Well, for me, let me see.
You got to go back and watch the replay, man.
Yeah.
What's up, Mikey? Thank you for stopping by, man.
Yeah, as always, brother. Good to see you.
Yeah, for me at number 5, you got Return to Sleepaway Camp. At number 4 is a tie between the Fog and Prom Night remakes. And my number 3 was The Nun.
Yeah, I mentioned Jeepers Creepers 3 and Reborn, Return to Sleepaway Camp also, Black Christmas from 2019, Wishmaster 3 and 4.
Good ones.
I mentioned the Chucky TV show, the Netflix Chainsaw Massacre movie, Scream 5 and 6.
Did the whole series.
Yeah, and then I did the Zombie Diaries, and I just finished up with Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Now we're
at number 2, right? So my number 5 was Street Trash. Number 4 was Amityville 3D. Number 3 was The Exorcist 2, the Heretic. So I'm on number 2 now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so coming in at number 2, it's another sequel here. And it's definitely a sequel from a very questionable franchise, that's for sure. I'm surprised nobody has mentioned any films from this franchise yet. And I'm just trying to figure out the year on this real quick. Fuck, I can't remember the year. I don't think it matters, but yeah. Coming in at number 2 for me is Silent Night, Deadly Night 3.
Oh, yeah.
Better watch out.
Yeah, better fucking watch out for a horrible fucking time, man. Jesus Christ.
I'm mostly wearing this brain.
I haven't seen 3 through 5 in years. I haven't seen 3 through 5. But they're
Dude,
bad.
you know what the crazy part is, too? Like, parts 3, 4, and 5 were directed by Brian Usna, the director of
love him. The
Return of the Living Dead 3 and Society and all types of other horror films. But
Reanimator.
A lot. Yeah.
But like,
I love
I just don't understand. Like, he ended up getting a 3 deal picture. I forget who it was from. He got a 3 deal picture. Or actually, no, I think it might have been like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 deal picture. I think that this is how they ended up doing Beyond Reanimator and everything. But like, how the hell do you give somebody that many deals on like that many movies, and then 3 of them are Christmas horror films, but only one of them really comes out as a Christmas horror film, and the other ones have nothing to do with Christmas at all.
Yep.
And
like 4 with the
well, we're calling it Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, and then 4 was called the Initiation, and then Part 5 is called The Toy Maker, which is actually a redeeming movie in the franchise.
5 is entertaining.
It does get back on track again with the holiday season, but I just don't know what the hell they were thinking with Part 3. You better watch out, and like, Bill Moseley's in it too, and his character is so pointless. The most pointless character I think you could ever fucking think of in a movie.
And he's
just walking around with this fucking glass thing on his head with his brain exposed. It's just, oh my god, it's really bad slasher film overall.
It's supposed
really
to be Ricky from Part 2 after he got shot in the second one.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly right. And it's such a bad portrayal overall. Bad idea overall too. Just wow, god awful that movie is though. But I mean, like, just like overall though, like the 5th film, The Toy Maker, it does find a way to redeem the franchise, but everything comes to a halt at that point. Like, you know, it's just the franchise dies right at that point.
And ironically, Mickey Rooney was one of the parents that hated the first one.
Yep, he protested.
Yeah, he was, you know, when that came out in '84, he's running his mouth about the movie, and then he comes up on Rough Times in the early '90s, and somebody offers him a role for Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, and he takes it right away.
Austin said here, that's I was thinking, but I didn't want to. I wasn't sure either. He said Yuzna only directed Part 4 and produced 5. He didn't direct 3. So now I'm forgetting. So now I'm thinking, who directed 3? Because now I'm blanking on that.
He directed. I could have swore he had a 3-picture deal.
I know he directed the one with the bugs, and that's 4, right? That's the one I know. In fact, he did.
I don't know what the hell that was. Like,
what the fuck is that? Like, that whole movie. Like, and I thought of 2 earlier because that's just an awful, terrible horror film too.
And it has nothing to do with Christmas.
I mean, I actually I had Part 2 on my list. Yeah, but then I thought about it, and I was like, you know, Part 2 is really only bad because of the fact that it just rehashes the first film so much, and it has nothing going for itself. It's a bad movie, but is it the worst in the franchise? No, I think the worst one is Part 3. I think that is the worst film in the whole franchise.
Yeah,
same with Floor.
You do get Garbage Day, the infamous line and stuff. So, I mean, and it's fun to laugh at. But just the fact that it's 45 minutes of it is just the first movie is just a fuck you, basically, to me. Like, from the filmmakers, it's like, all right, here's a sequel to a popular slasher flick that it was very controversial. Enjoy like watching the same shit for the first 45 minutes, first half of your movie, and then we'll just get to some other like shit that isn't even that great. But yeah, I don't remember the last 3 in the series that much, but it
looks like you're right, dude.
Being well,
I think you're right about a different director for Part 3.
Who was it? Because I can't think who.
Dude, it's like the most random name ever, Monty Hellman.
What the fuck is that? Yeah, I've never heard of that.
So familiar from me.
Monty.
Most random name ever, Monty Hellman, and it sounds like it was an Italian director that came over and was like, any name but my real name.
Yeah,
use any name but my real name.
Something like that, because I mean, all those Silent Night, Deadly Night, all the Brian Yuzna stuff, and then Stuart Gordon, they have ties to Charles Band and Full Moon and stuff, and you see that in a lot of Full Moon pictures. That directors will just make an alias for the name not to be attached to the movie. Like, there's a guy who directed like 6 Puppet Masters who uses like 3 or 4 different names throughout those movies for the director's name, and one of them's a female name. and it's still the same dude who directed it. Like some of these people just do it for money and make these cheap ass movies, and then just like, I don't want my name attached to this at all, and then they just put some fake ass name. That could be what happened.
Yeah, but I just figured too, with like the holiday season coming up, I was like, trying to go through my Christmas horror films and see which ones I'm watching this year, and I was like, Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, like this has got to get mentioned. Like it's just. It's really fucking bad. It's really that bad.
I just thought of it recently because Jason did a video on it.
Yep, he did a video.
So I just thought
really? I gotta check that out.
And I thought too the same stuff. Like when I saw his tweet on it, I was like, "Oh man, those aren't good." Like 325, like at all. Like, I said, that's like an interesting choice to kick off with, like for the holidays, like holiday horror movies.
Yeah, like I mean, when I start going through like Christmas horror films, I always watch the original Silent Night film. I have the second one on Blu-ray. I usually don't watch it very often because it's just like I'd rather just watch the first film. But whenever I get to this 3-film set that Vestron released a couple of years ago, I always go, nah, stay away from the third one. That's a bad one. Right
I saw that Austin's mentioning a funny ass line from the 5th movie. Where the Pino character, who's pretty much like short for Pinocchio, is trying to hump the lady, and she's, "I love you, mommy." Like, what
yeah, it's one of those odd, awkward moments or whatever. But the kid who actually plays like the toy that's being built, like he does a really good job at like selling like a robotic character.
And I found out.
Like it's a low budget film that was direct to video. You can't expect a whole lot in that aspect, but for what it is, it's really not a bad film. Part 5, really not. But Part 3 is, my god, fucking film, man.
The kid that played that Pino kid, that's actually the same actor that plays the boy and the teenage boy in Pumpkinhead that helps him at the end.
Oh yeah,
that's the same actor.
Oh right. I know you're talking with the shaggy hair.
I would have never knew that.
He's even interviewed on the special features.
No shit. See, I haven't gotten to the feature. Like that's funny you mentioned that because like since I bought this, I've only watched the movies. I haven't checked out any of the features yet. I think that thing came out like 2 years ago. I still haven't watched the features yet, but yeah, coming in at number 2 is Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. Man, Jesus Christ,
man.
I got to rewatch this whole series at some point, like the sequels.
Yeah, like four has got its really out there moments, but it still works as a watchable film.
That's expected, though, from Yuzna. Like that's why I remember that one being the one I liked the most out of like 2 through 5.
Like even the opening credits of Part 4, like right away, like you're getting something bizarre right off the fucking bat.
Yeah. Like 4 was like weird as shit. Like I was like watching it on Tubi. Like, what? Before I got what the hell is this? Like a lot of big bugs going on. Like this is the craziest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's also the one with Clint Howard too. Clint Howard's in Howard.
And he's also called Ricky for some reason.
I love Clint Howard, and the Ice Cream Man.
I was confused. Like he's called Ricky, and is he supposed to be Bill Moseley or what? I was like confused.
Remember, he's a Slinky and Tango Cash.
Yeah.
Slinky, say hi, Slinky. All right, my number 2 is not going to surprise anybody that knows me and knows my channel. I couldn't help it. I had to put Halloween Ends.
All right, somebody did it.
Anytime you got some motherfucker wrestling down Michael Myers and taking his mask away from him and treating him like a bitch, it's lucky it didn't get number 1.
Yeah.
It has one redeeming quality. The opening of that film is
for an hour.
The opening of it's pretty good. From then on, it just gets more fucking ridiculous. I don't know. And all the way from the end, she pins him down with a fucking refrigerator and then makes him hamburger meat. It's like, fuck you.
That movie's a piece of shit. Like that movie, I have ranted on it like during the streams we would do.
Oh, I know, man.
I mentioned how I hate that piece of shit.
just stop people randomly. Do you realize Halloween Ends is a piece of shit?
Yep. When it came out, me and Mike did like a long stream on it, and just like right after it was on Peacock or whatever it was, and I don't like 2018 much. When I don't like Kills, even more so, I don't like any of them. Like Sean said earlier, like past 6, except for Rob Zombie's H2, which is hated on, but I love that movie. Everything else, I really don't care for in the whole franchise. Like past Curse of Michael Myers, but like Ends was so bad that I don't even remember anything from it. I erased it from my memory.
I'd rather watch Resurrection than watch Ends ever again.
Oh yeah,
it's that
Resurrection on repeat.
Because
Ends and Resurrection are like in a fist fight for dead last on my fucking franchise. Those two are going at it, man.
For me, Ends is the bottom. It's a piece of shit.
Yeah,
and
if
people
anything,
still.
I might agree because like Resurrection, at least like it was like in that period in the 2000s or whatever that like. It had that type of feel to have that cheekiness to it, like,
and it did have a solid theme song as well.
And it was supposed to be like ridiculous in a way, like playing off like the digital age and stuff and streaming. So like it makes sense that it's a ridiculous script and it's terrible, but like these Blumhouse films were supposed to be like, serious takes on the series.
And
so like when you make a film like that's supposed to be serious and taken seriously and it's god awful, that's to me is worse than like Resurrection, like when you're trying for something a little more stupid, like in entertainment's sake, and it fails. Yeah,
they totally disrespect the fuck out of that character.
Oh yeah,
and people want to, and there's some people that saying that they still hate 3 because there's no Michael Myers. You barely get Michael Myers for 5 minutes for screen time.
I can't believe people still can't get over the fact that Halloween 3 isn't about Michael Myers. I can't believe they're still feeling it.
They even stole the opening credit fonts from Halloween 3.
It's really great to see Halloween 3. I've always loved Halloween 3 since like I was a kid and first saw it and got over the initial shock of, like where's Myers. But like
that movie, it got interesting really quickly after that. You know, it got interesting real quick, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" I was a huge Michael Myers fan. I was really disappointed, but 10 minutes later, after realizing that, it got interesting, and I was into the story that was going on now. You know, and I was like 10 years old.
Even before like anything, the score is like just drew me in completely. The March of Pumpkins, whatever it is, Chariots of Pumpkins, that's like one of my favorite Carpenter scores with Alan Howarth. Yep. That is such a great horror score.
Yeah,
and a lot of people want to shit on the third movie. They clearly stole the opening credit. You know the credit with the blue fonts of all the credits that in Halloween 3 is.
Yeah,
they use it in their crappy Halloween Ends opening. And shows that ours is better than the third movie. Bullshit. The third movie's better.
May says
we're talking the worst part.
Ends. Watch along with special guest JT Juno2000.
Yeah. you know what, May? I'll endure the pain one time just for you.
Yeah. So
that'll be a field day for me to explain my rage on it.
But be ready because we're gonna bitch the whole time.
Yeah, it'll be a bitch party.
Juno may even throw up.
And pretty much when I was watching it, it was pretty much a remake of John Carpenter's Christine, and that's my all-time favorite movie. So I was like, "Fuck you, David Gordon Green and Jason Blum."
Austin mentions Exorcist Believer, which I'm surprised hasn't been brought up yet, unless it will be. But
I still haven't seen it.
I'm still in shock. I can't think about it yet.
I think it got a lot more hate than it deserves, but it's no way a good movie.
No,
anyway. And it's in no way a good
worse. Even though Believers, it's not bad, but End is a piece of shit more.
Yes.
Yeah. End is a travesty. Like to me, like I was actually enjoying the first like maybe 30, 45 minutes of Believer until it just like until they brought in Ellen Burstyn. It's one of my favorite actresses of all time. But just the whole thing and how they fucked Chris McNeil's character up is just awful. And everything from then on. Yeah, everything. Like she would write a book about everything that happened when she wanted Reagan to forget about it.
They make her Gail Weathers. Like what?
Yeah, exactly. and it's so bad. They butcher her character and then literally butcher her eyes, and she's out of it for the rest of the movie. Yeah. I don't know where I don't know where they're going with the 2 and 3, like the next two. Deceiver.
And David Gordon Green was bitching about it, like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do these movies because the movie's sucking in theaters." He's such a dumbass. He signed up to the other two, so he has to do them.
Yeah, no, I saw some news that he might not be doing this Deceiver now, and maybe it's because of all the backlash that it's getting. Because
they're gonna have to rework his contract then.
Yeah, he's not like fully 100% on board for directing.
That's what I don't understand about contracts. Like you got to look at them very closely because there's always this clause or this loophole that's in there, and then you start reading it and go, "Whoa, this looks a little different from the average contract I look at," and then it's, "Oh, well, if this happens, that'll be a factor." Like if it doesn't make this much in ticket sales, well, then you're not going to get your $50,000 bonus and all this other shit.
Oh, it's so layered, like contracts like that. I can't imagine, especially like for multi-movie deals, and especially with like a production company like Blumhouse.
Yeah, and the other thing with ends, they also have Easter eggs of better movies, and it shows you how bad the movie is. When you show Easter eggs of better movies, that movie sucks.
Oh yeah,
that is pretty pathetic. You think about
like there was an Easter egg of different movie scenes.
I'm glad you brought that up, Juno. There's a big distinction between that and homages. Like it's like in a film, like when like a good movie makes a nice homage to a great film and it's done well, that's good. But like when you're in a franchise already, and especially like these, like I hate the term too, legacy sequels. Where the fuck did that word come from until like 5 years ago? Like I never heard that in my life. And requel, it came from Scream is where it came from and stuff. But I never heard that term ever a decade ago. Like I know that for a fact. Requel.
Starting to see Saga is starting to show up a lot more.
Nostalgia.
That's starting to show up more. Saga
in the franchise.
That's starting to come up.
The only thing that should be a saga to me is the Star Wars saga. That's like the only saga.
Like movies.
Yeah. Like I don't know where all these terms are coming from. Like never heard of it, but now we have so many of them. Now we're getting a night. What the hell? I know what you did last summer. Legacy sequel with everyone coming back.
Isn't that going to be a TV show? Because I heard it was like a TV show.
Yeah, there was a show that got canceled after a season because it probably blew terrible dick. Like it was that bad. I don't like that movie either. The sequels, especially, they're abysmal. All those post.
Even the third one. What the hell was that?
Yeah, I don't remember any of them. I haven't seen them since they came out.
They're terrible. They want to turn the Alien into a TV show. Like, what the hell?
Really? I didn't hear that. That's funny.
Can we assume that Halloween Ends is your number one, you know?
Halloween Ends?
Can we assume the Ends is your one?
If I want to spoil it, yes.
Okay, well, I would just let you start with number one since we're already on a roll with it. Yeah. I want to hear how you really feel.
Okay, my thoughts, because I really hate it so much for a passion, because I could rather watch the shitty sequels that some of you guys mentioned over that. Because one, I hated when they had Corey Cunningham body slam the shape, like wood, and steal his mask.
Yeah, that happened. I forgot the whole movie after I watched it.
I was like, that part pissed me off. Like, they treat the shape like that.
Like a bitch, man.
Scared the shit out of all of us to just have this flat ass character body slam him and steal his mask.
This pussy that gets fucking bullied by everybody in the fucking movie is wrestling around Michael Myers in the fucking sewer, taking his shit. Give me his mind, bitch. Lay down there and shut up. It's like, what the fuck?
I understand how a director could agree with that whole sequence taking place.
Yeah,
if you're directing a new Halloween film, you have to be a fan of the franchise in some kind of way. I would assume.
Yeah. I felt like they were not
executing the whole sequence. Is like what?
I say that all the time with movies that like nobody like said like this isn't a great idea.
I feel like they didn't have the heart to it.
Like I say that
they wanted to make this
solid idea, man.
movie.
Yeah, like no one on set, like the director, the writers, the staff, the extras, like no one like just pitched and said, this is really stupid and doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because
I makes me feel like too, like maybe David Gordon Green, maybe he just said, you know what, like I'm out, like I've lost control of this already. I'm just gonna ride it out and get paid here. Fuck it. Like I think that might have been a possibility too. It might have got to a point where he was like, "Fuck it, I've lost control of this film. I'm just gonna get paid."
Yeah,
the opening,
and it feels like a start of a new movie, like then an end of a trilogy, like with all
the opening was so bad that I just burst laughing of how stupid that opening was. Where the kid just falls and it's all CGI, like what the hell? I just bust my ass laughing of how stupid that was.
See all the digital bits standing out too much.
As much as I don't like the Blumhouse trilogy at all, I think what was in Kills when they did the effects to have Donald Pleasance there as Loomis, that was very well done. Mm-hmm. That looked very good. Like I like that whole scene when they had the flashback and you see Loomis and stuff, like the way that they did that looked great. Yeah. But that's like one of the best things in the whole trilogy for me.
Even though I don't mind some parts in the 2018 movie, but that was pretty much Halloween greatest hits.
Yeah, 2018.
All the camera shots that you've seen in other Halloween movies.
Yeah.
And also they did that with Ends, like because Ends, there's other stuff that you mentioned from Halloween, like Halloween 4, he's driving the mechanic truck and he's what's it called? He kills a mechanic in the 2018 film and steals his jumper, and even the ice machine is there at the gas station.
Yeah.
Like they're just referencing the better movies that you're just making this bullshit sequel that it's supposed to be a reboot.
Yeah.
But Halloween Ends is passionately one of the worst horror sequel that I ever saw, and it's so bad that I rather watch Jason Goes to Hell or See the Chucky over it.
I love both.
Yeah,
of those
like I gotta say, I wasn't.
To Hell not as much, but I love See the Chucky.
Like I already had Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills on Blu-ray, and I was not excited about buying Halloween Ends on Blu-ray when I did. I was not excited about it.
And yeah, like
I would go ahead and get your number one since we was already on the already on the topic, and I figured since we were there, I knew it was your number one. I figured since we were already there, we'd go ahead and get it out of the way, and so you could vent and so you could feel it. Right. So now, JT, what's your number one?
Man, I have no idea. This is so hard. Pick a number one worst. Like all of these picks, are great picks. They're all terrible movies. They're all awful. I mean, I can't call this an awful movie because I respect it as a classic, but it's a movie I hate, and it's Rosemary's Baby. And that's a hot take. I know I'm the minority. Mm-hmm. I love Polanski, and I love Repulsion by Polanski. He's a great film, but I just never could. I've given it so many chances, Rosemary's Baby, and it is just so boring to me.
I'm in shock. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's like a classic that it never worked for me. And Mia Farrow is all right in it, but since I saw The Haunting of Julia, Full Circle, and that movie instantly became a top movie for me, I prefer that film in every single way. Not that they're similar, but having Mia Farrow there. But yeah, I've never been a fan.
It's like got the same theme going for it with those movies, but
yeah,
I mean, like you're not the first person I've heard say like they despise or. I mean, that's if I were to take a wild guess on your number one, that would have been my last one to really pick. Is probably Rosemary's Baby. It even really have it on my mind, really.
Like
but
I said, I'm not picking it as. It's not like I'm not saying it's the number one worst horror movie ever thver. It's just the one.
Everybody's bitching in the chat. Everybody's going, really?
Right. No, like I can respect that as a personal choice.
I do appreciate it, but to me, like there's better movies I've seen.
Like I don't hold the film in high. Like I wouldn't say it's like really up there as like one of my favorite films. I do enjoy it, but I don't find myself really watching it very often. I just bought it on Blu-ray a couple of years ago. I know the 4K was released recently, and that has issues with it apparently. But
does it? Yeah, there's
apparently the 4K has got they had to do a whole disc replacement program or something like that. I don't know. I stayed away from it. I just decided to keep my Blu-ray, but I don't know. There is something really alluring about that film for me. I've always enjoyed it for what it is, but I can respect your opinion on that, though.
I respect that it's absolutely a classic.
I actually like The Omen more than Rosemary's Baby.
The Omen is like a million times better than Rosemary's Baby, and that's such an underrated movie. I feel The Omen.
I would take The Omen over Rosemary's Baby too. Actually,
so is part two. The Omen 2 is good too.
Yeah, the whole Omen trilogy is great. 3 with Sam Neill is fantastic. Omen 4 kind of sucks, but like the first.
The Omen 4 is dog shit, dude. It's fucking Problem Child. But they took Problem Child and put a female. They put a little girl in instead of a boy. Yeah. That's what it was. It was Problem Child, but with a girl.
And it's directed by the same director of Halloween 5 that got fired.
That makes sense.
So he was being a dick to everybody on set, so he got fired.
That's so bad. I mean, Halloween 5 is just not good either. I mean, I have nostalgia for it just because growing up and seeing Halloween as my first horror movie and then seeing the sequels. And I think up 6 was the last one. And maybe that's another reason why that like 6 is where it ends for me. That was like the ones that were always playing on TV. Like from Marathon, like AMC and USA, and like for Halloween nights and like Friday the 13th, they would always play Halloween 1 through 6. Then H2O was like the first new one to come out when I was already like a horror fan. But yeah, like H2O, I mean, it's leagues better than the new trilogy. Like I like how they capture Laurie's trauma.
A lot better than they did in 218.
Much better. Yeah, much better. With her being an alcoholic and her just like you're saying, like I need another drink, and seeing Michael in reflections and like all of that is great.
But she also so bad that CBS took her kids and everything else in 2018. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, it was a shitty remake of of H2O.
Yeah, basically, that's how it felt to me. And like most people know who know me, I don't like Kevin Williamson, like anything that he does, except The Faculty, which I don't even believe he wrote The Faculty at this point. And there's theories on that.
Nothing.
What? Yeah, no, I'm not a Scream fan. That's news.
Well, I mean,
a lot of
Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, that's what the fucking things feel like to me. The Scream movies, I know you did last summer, Urban Legend, H2O, because he did a bunch of rewrites, Kevin Williamson for H2O. It seems like Dawson's Creek, watered down slasher films that aren't slasher films because there's no kills on screen or good kills or inventive kills or anything. And they feel like pretty girl, pretty boy actress, soap opera drama, slasher pseudo movies that are terrible for the most part. That's the best way I could describe my feelings on like that whole period of slasher films from post Scream.
Alrighty, we're at Sean's number one. I'm curious about this is going to be. Yeah, that's a shocking number one, man. That I love those little moments in each countdown.
Yeah, that was more.
Like, oh my god, what do you mean?
Oh yeah, that was more of one, like I said, that came to. There are so many movies I consider worst made films and stuff. That was just like one I was trying to think like, what movie like do I really just like hate because I watch it and I'm bored out of my tit every time. And that's like one of the ones
basically
that came to mind.
Overrated. So basically, you're saying it's the most overrated.
Yeah, maybe in a way. Yeah,
because
very big pacing issues. It's so slow. It's it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, there's overrated movies where there's highly praised movies I really don't care for, and I would say to each their own at the end.
Yeah, I mean, you got to know a point when to look beyond it.
Like I'm not big on, for example, I'm not big on Titanic. I think that movie's a bit overrated.
Really, I love Titanic. I think that's an amazing fucking movie.
Yeah.
More so though because I always liked the history, story of the Titanic, the whole romance shit, whatever. I just like
the romance shit was kind of annoying.
Brought it back together, and bringing the shit.
Yeah.
I was more interested.
That's one thing that's annoying about Titanic when you're watching it. It's all right, I'm watching a cool period drama here, but I'm getting annoyed by this romance that pops up every now and then.
Exactly. When I see the movie, I kind of wish
great with the romance or whatever.
I kind of wish some of the side characters. I wish they had more screen time because I was I didn't give a shit about the romance crap.
I love the romance. Yeah. I fucking love that romance.
Yeah, there are some scenes.
Shocking, I know, but I'm a romantic guy.
I wanted to see more scenes with the guy that was the guy that created Titanic. I want to see more scenes with him. I want to see more scenes with
Billy Zane. He's such a fucking
character,
dick, isn't he? Billy Zane's such a fucking dick in that, man. He does it so well.
Billy Zane,
he's always been known as playing movies like that. He's a
David Warner plays a funny villain in that one.
Billy Zane's always been
Billy Zane, he's fantastic always. And Demon Knight, Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight, he's so good in that.
Good calm.
Twin Peaks, he was on a few episodes of in season 2, which is one of my favorite shows. He's always great, Billy Zane.
Yeah. But that's an example of I think that movie's overrated.
And his muscle is David Warner. David Warner plays his muscle, remember? So
I like David Warner in that one. They cut a scene out where he had a fight with Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't know why they cut that scene, but they explained it in the features that Karen explains that it was taking too long, so they cut his scene why he's busted. Because you see when the boat is cracking and you see he's all busted open. It was actually because Jack threw him in the glass door when they were fighting. That they cut that scene out why he's busted open.
Cameron is known for, and I've never been a big John Cameron fan. I don't care for a lot of his films, but he's always been known to film a lot of extra of scenes and stuff like that. Then have to.
I guess
cut out a lot of his movies, and they're already long as shit. Yeah, exactly. They're always long to begin with. I mean, it still ended up a 3-hour movie, almost Titanic, and there was a lot, a decent amount of scenes cut out of it. He probably shot 5 hours worth of footage or something like that for that movie.
Did we say you're number one yet, Sean?
No, we're about to though. Unfortunately. This is a movie I really hate this fucking movie. I really hate this one. And Juno actually managed to bring this one up earlier in the stream, but there's no way I can get through a top 5 here without mentioning something in this franchise. And my number one all time is the 2014 film Leprechaun Origins. I own it in the Steelbook here, which is it's got the first 8 Leprechaun films in the Steelbook here, and that's the last one that comes with a single disc and its own area for it. It's fuck, dude. And I've heard people try to put positive spins on this movie and trying to make it out to be what it really isn't. And it's just what a god awful movie. Just the fact that you cannot have the Leprechaun looking the way he should to keep in line with the franchise. That just off the bat is just a big negative right there. That's just not going to fly.
And also, Keith, that's also a WWE film movie.
That's another thing.
See No Evil movie.
Yo, they have no idea.
always fun.
Dude, they have no business making any movies. They really like. I can appreciate your effort there and what you're trying to do, but you have no clue what you're doing. These are fucking just terrible movies, dude. Anything that's WWE or WF, whatever that means, like, come on, man. Like,
they're horrible movies.
Just honestly,
Chris
like,
has a great point in the comments. Psycho remake. That's up there. That's one.
Psycho remake's one of the worst fucking remakes.
Chris
Psycho remake always has me left with question marks. Why was this movie made? The Psycho remake always, every time I'm reminded of it, just like now, I'm always, why was that movie made? Why?
Yeah.
Why was that made?
With different actors and actors, just like with the one of the most classic horror films that were filmed.
If they wanted to like do something interesting, like with the Psycho, they could have just re-released the movie in color and that year, instead of just wasting money on that piece of shit remake of having a budget for a remake of it. Instead.
I just thought of the name of this movie, so I'm retracting Rosemary's Baby as number one. Do you guys ever see Death House? The movie that has like every horror icon in it. That movie is like
that was a big fucking advertisement.
I think Kane Hodder isn't Kane Hodder in that
movie is terrible.
I think
Kane Hodder, Tony Todd, Barbara Crampton, Bill Moseley, Sid Haig,
Michael Berryman.
It goes on and on and on. Like there's like dozens. You'll see the cast for Death House. Like it's from like 2017, 2018.
When I first,
you'll be in shock of all of them there.
They should have called that shit Death Production. That's what they should have called that. Fucking Death Production.
You know when I first heard about it, they said it was supposed to be like the Expendables of all the horror villains in a mental institution.
Like
and then we get this bullshit where it's false advertising. Where's Michael Myers? Where's Freddy Krueger? Where's Jason? You don't get that shit.
They're all taking a nap right now.
Because they hyped that movie up. I remember that. And I always forget it exists because I watched it and I said, this is absolutely abysmal. That might have been one of those movies that I skipped through several times, like minutes of, because what the fuck, and what a waste, man. Like Daniel Harris is in it, I think too. Like like literally, that are just horror icons that you would think, how could this be like one of the worst things I've ever seen? Let alone like at least be decent with all this talent, and it's just that bad. Like it's just awful. So Death House, don't watch that shit.
Another one.
I just know with Leprechaun Origins, that was like the nail for me with the franchise. When I saw that, I was like, that's it. I'm not fucking watching another Leprechaun film ever again. And then they came out with Leprechaun Returns, which actually went back to the original roots of the film to have it tied into the original film. And they made an effort to make the Leprechaun look somewhat original without Warwick Davis.
I've heard that.
So I was able to look beyond that. But when Leprechaun Returns came out, and I was able to see those efforts and those aspects about it, I was like, yo, suddenly I care about the Leprechaun franchise again. Because I really thought Origins was going to be the nail that did it. I thought that was really going to be it. But Leprechaun Returns is definitely a worthy sequel, in my opinion. And that's the only reason why I still care about Leprechaun films to this day. But yeah, my number one overall is definitely Leprechaun Origins. That is a fucking god-awful piece of shit movie, man. Fucking terrible.
I gotta watch like all the movies in that series past 3 that I've never seen.
It's tough.
I graduation day too, Chris.
Experience
Dude, it's really tough. Actually, with what you just said, it's really tough to get through the first 3 and then go, you know what? I'm about to watch the 4th one that goes to space. It's like, to get the motivation behind that, it's just like, fuck my life, dude. It really is. It's a rough franchise. I could have easily said, we could put Leprechaun Back in the Hood and Back to the Hood, whatever the fuck it is. I could have easily put those films in here, but Leprechaun Origins really makes me pissed off. It really pisses me off. Like, Leprechaun in the Hood and Back to the Hood, I can find some fun in those movies. But Origins really got under my skin. It was like, you know what? Like, we better not see another Leprechaun film ever again. And go figure, they come out with Returns, which is actually a worthy installment.
Yeah, I've
And it's
heard
supposed to
that
be a
from some people
prequel.
that watched them that like Returns was much better than Origins, which was terrible.
Dude, it was night and day. The
Yeah.
overall, the whole difference in movie quality was night and day. It was like, oh my God, you had this abomination, and out of nowhere you had something that was on the right track.
Yeah, at least it's good when that happens. So a franchise like that's deep, like that many films deep, that you have one that feels like just like Texas Chainsaw from last year, how bad that is, and like maybe if they do another one, maybe it'll actually be promising and good. Like when that happens, at least it's a little bit of hope.
Yeah, right. It's looking in the right direction. I mean, I don't expect much to come after Leprechaun Returns. We haven't had anything since then, I don't think, but it was a nice rebound after a really bad film with Origins. It was a really nice rebound.
Yeah. And also, like, there's other prequels that are terrible too, because I know Origins is supposed to be a prequel, which doesn't mean shit as a prequel because it doesn't even look like the damn Leprechaun at all.
No, it looks like some random goblin with pointed ass ears, almost like some Nosferatu fucking troll looking motherfucker. Like, it's just so bad, dude. So bad.
Yeah, a prequel that I find bad is From Dusk Till Dawn 3. That was a piece of crap.
I haven't.
Yeah, I can't do any of the. I can't do any of the From Dusk Till Dawn sequels. I just can't, dude.
Yeah, that movie was awful. I got it for like $1. Then I watched it because I have not seen the movie in a while because I could not find it on the internet. But I got it for $1 at a thrift store, and I watched it. I was like, "What the fuck is this? This movie sucks."
There's a reason why you had trouble watching it.
And the lead that they have in the movie, he's supposed to be he's supposed to be like an anti-hero person, but he's just a dickhead in this movie. The lead of the movie. He's treating everybody like shit, and it's just, I don't know, like that movie was just confusing as shit. There was even like noises that they're using from The Exorcist, which I was like, what the fuck is Reagan's possessed noises using in this crappy movie? Because I literally heard like that's Reagan's like crying ass when she's possessed by Pazuzu. Like, where did they get this shit to make this crappy movie?
Then you got like Manos, Hands of Fate, and
Manos.
It's like movies and shit on that level that are like, again, to some are fun to watch. They're so bad, but to me, I think that movie's just awful.
Before I tell everybody my number one, by the way, it was mentioned earlier by someone else. If you get this Blu-ray or even from Arrow, or if it's even on YouTube, this interview is, go and watch the interview with Brad Dourif, and Brad Dourif explains exactly how I feel about this movie too, and how I think Juno said he felt about it. And number one is The Exorcist 2. Go listen to Brad Dourif talk about The Exorcist 2. And he said it's such a piece of shit. I was appalled, and the look on his face, he's like, he just looks fucking just angry about that.
He's turning into the psycho from Exorcist 3, like that he plays.
He was like, it was boring and it sucked and it made no sense, and he just applauded like he's getting
this film. I will cut and mutilate.
He was fucking angry about it, and it was just an interview.
I can just see it.
He will never get away.
Go check it out on YouTube.
Some of those lines in Exorcist 3, they're so iconic that like they're sampled in like music. Like
he should have gotten a nomination for an Oscar at least.
Oh,
his performance. That's an Oscar nominee right there.
So we had two picks for The Exorcist 2. 2 picks.
Yep. Just his reaction to it. I respect Brad Dourif, and I hate it anyway. And since he felt that way about it, I was like, man, that has to be right.
And 2 picks with me and Keith for Halloween as well.
Like, 2 picks for Halloween Ends and 2 picks for The Exorcist 2.
Not surprising.
I was surprised like Freddy's Dead wasn't in there and shit like that. I expected at least a few of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I just think that's because the remake exists, and that's why Juno brought
The
it up.
remake, that's abomination to me.
If you're thinking Nightmare, like that's the one that's gonna come up.
The
Just
remake
like Anne took the place of
abomination.
Resurrection.
I would never own it.
And that's
Like,
why
it used to have been
that was
Resurrection.
that could have been brought up.
It
For
said
sure.
it was in-
We did talk about it.
They topped
That's
it.
why
They
it's so
topped it.
hard. That's why it's so hard to, like we were saying, to figure this out, because then none of us really even dived into like bad foreign horror and like just like we said, like the sci-fi films and like the Sharknado level films that like just are just below terrible. Like those are like would be like if you're technically saying the worst horror movies of all time, but like
I realize
this was an
what we got
interesting list from everyone for sure. There's definitely picks that I expected to hear and ones that were surprising.
10 minutes after I messaged all you guys and said, "Hey, let's do the top 5 worst ever made." Right after I sent that out, I started thinking of it for a minute, and I said, "Oh shit, what did I just get us into?" I knew it.
Like
I was like, "Oh man."
Because for Nightmare on Elm Street, I actually like that franchise, and out of all of it, I would never see the remake ever again, or even own it, because I think it's a boring ass movie, and nothing good about it.
Fucking dog shit, man.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, man.
May says she's more into Piranhas. I think Piranha 3D from Alexander Aja is one of the best remakes. That movie's so good. I never liked Dante's Piranha. I think it's a bad movie. Like, it's just not good. It's like what Alexander Aja did and took it just to this insanity level and the gore and CGI. That's a movie you go nuts with.
And
CGI.
Eli Roth gets killed in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone owns that prop of his corpse. I heard that on a horror documentary. Maybe it's that 101 Scariest Horror Movie Moments on Shudder. I did a countdown of somewhere. I heard it recently. Someone owns his dead corpse prop, Eli Roth, from that movie. But that is such a great remake, Piranha 3D.
What kind of top script should we do next, you think? If anybody has any ideas, send me a message or whatever about any top 5s or anything you guys might want to do next.
I think underrated would be good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I could be into that. Doing underrated films. That's always an interesting topic. That's for sure.
You want to mix? You can mix in like underrated sequel,
and that's a much bigger pool that you can draw from easier.
Yeah, and we can mix in everything like remakes, sequels, or underrated original movie.
Yeah.
Top point houses, man. Yeah. What do you got coming up on your channel, JT?
Actually, in the next few days, I'm doing a double premiere of Black Christmas and the remake from 06. I recorded the original. I just haven't gotten to the 06 yet. So tomorrow, I'm going to be uploading Nosferatu from 1922 and premiering it, so we can watch it and discuss it while it's premiering. And then I'll just leave it up, and it'll just, I guess, be one of the other 100 versions of that movie uploaded to YouTube. It's just it's public domain. Cool. But I think that's an essential horror watch, just like once, even for any horror watcher. And I haven't seen it in a long while, so that'll be fun watching Nosferatu.
Yeah, Jason's mentioning top 5 sequels.
Sequels, that's pretty good one too. Or you can go a couple different ways with that. You can do top 5 sequels, or you can do top 5 like part 2s. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can say right now, right? Psycho 2 would be like in my top 3, if not number 1. I think Psycho 2.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge.
Yeah,
I mean,
Freddy's Revenge is another one.
This was like what? This was like top 5 worst horror films. Even though I had 3 of them that were sequels, that does go to show like how much I don't like sequels. I really don't.
I know. You've
always had 3 of them on my list.
You've always said that you don't care for sequels.
I really don't. Like, it's usually after the 3rd film is when I'm like, all right, what's next?
Yeah, it's done.
Tired.
I mean, there's very few franchises that are compelling and keep you interested past like the 3rd movie. There's very few.
Saul did a good job with
Saw
that.
is the only. That's the only one I was just about to say. Is for me, is Saw. Like besides that, and Child's Play, the movies. If that's 7. Besides
I like
that,
the first 3 Child's Play movies.
yeah. I know a lot of people.
Yeah,
that
like Child's Play 3. That's a
original.
sequel I would put as underrated because that one gets shit on too much.
I'd put it underrated too because it's my least favorite movie in the franchise. Except
It
for the, I
definitely
still like
deserves
it.
some
I
kind
still
of
love it.
mention.
It's just not my favorite. 2 is my favorite. Child's Play.
OGs versus remakes. I was gonna do that at one point. Actually, one time. Top 5 real life made horror films. That was all interesting. What do you got coming up on your channel, Juno?
Pretty much I'm just uploading I'm gonna do a review of Silent Night that I went to go see in theaters.
Cool.
And I'm gonna give my positive thoughts about it, and also a bit of a spoiler review because I did enjoy the movie.
Yeah, you was shooting that as you was coming out of the theater, wasn't you? So you must have been pretty excited about it.
Yeah, because I did a quick short where I was coming out of the theater, like giving my quick thoughts about it, that I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
And
Top
I'm
8
also,
That's definitely good to hear. I'm looking forward to seeing that actually.
Because I was almost thinking of seeing Thanksgiving because they're playing Thanksgiving there, but I decided to see Silent Night because I do like John Woo's movies like Face Off, Hard Target, and Hard Boiled. Like those are badass movies.
I think I would have made the same decision though. I think I would have been like, "Fuck Thanksgiving, I'm going to see Silent Night."
Yeah,
John Woo's a better director.
I gotta definitely watch that one soon for sure. But
I think that was John Woo knows how to direct action movies. Like it's not like the movie is pretty good. Like even though they do a unique thing, Sean, where they don't have dialogue in the movie because the character.
I keep hearing that. Yeah. Like you're not the first person I heard that from. I keep hearing that from multiple people.
They just did that too within a great movie from this year on Hulu, No One Will Save Us, with what the hell's her name? I can't remember, but alien invasion movie, and it's a very damn good movie. And there's only 5 words in the whole movie spoken, and then it's just all just like it's not a silent movie. It's just those are the only lines of dialogue. So it's interesting that there's a few movies recently that have come out like doing that kind of.
Yeah. The Silent Night movie that I watched, like it's pretty good. Even the fight scenes are pretty good because it's not that Jason Bourne shit where the fight scenes are shaky cams and stuff. It's actually well done, the fight scenes, and it's highly recommended, guys. Like I recommend the movie; it's pretty good. And I'm gonna do a review about that in a couple of days. And of course, I'm gonna join Sean with the month of December for the watch parties.
Yeah, it's like every weekend, but this weekend we got a double header. For Friday night will be Silent Night, Deadly Night, and then Saturday night we'll be celebrating the 40th anniversary for John Carpenter's Christine.
My all-time favorite movie.
All right, so do you got anything else on, or is that like things you got coming, or you gonna do something else?
Nah, I'm probably just gonna do a digital code giveaway for Christmas. Other than that, that's about it. Nothing really too exciting on the channel.
Hey, /Fred, what's up? All right, cool. Well, me, I don't know if anybody knows, but you guys know. My third episode of third week in a row, for episode 3, Extreme Theater, tomorrow night at midnight. Will be 1970s I Drink Your Blood this week.
Nice. That's a classic trash film right there. I love that film.
It's perfectly in the Grindhouse and the Neo Nasty and all that, the drive-in theater type shit. Yeah. And then this coming Saturday, for this month, just for this month, I'm doing the Sunday afternoon matinees, and this one will be 1984, so it opens up Christmas horror. Yeah. That's
right. What time is that? What time is that again? Don't open until
at 2 p.m. now. Just make sure everybody's awake.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the Eagles are playing that day. Well, you know what? The Eagles are playing that day. I just don't know what time, but I should be able to join that though, because I do want to watch that at some point this month, and that would probably be a perfect time to do it.
That's a pretty good one, yeah.
Yeah, I love the fact in that movie, like you have a guy that's dressed up as Santa Claus. He's killing other Santa Clauses. You know, it's a little different, and it's also from like the UK too, so it's a little different in that aspect too.
Sounds similar to Violent Night.
I mean, on the fucking slip cover, man. On the slip
like
cover,
it's a typical slasher. It's a sleazy slasher at that, and also a holiday one.
Oh shit, that's another bad movie.
There's the slip. I mean, look, you guys look. It said tits right there on the fucking slip.
I probably can't show that, but who cares?
There's another bad horror movie that's on Christmas. It's Santa Sleigh with Goldberg as Santa.
Oh,
Bill Goldberg as Santa Claus. That's a killer.
That's a forgettable one. Yeah.
Yeah, JT just said
forgot about that one.
JT said, "Fuck
y'all." JT fell out.
Oh man.
JT's not even trying to come back. He said, "Fuck you. I'll see you later."
Yeah.
But all right, guys. Appreciate it. You guys want to try to get hooked up this next Monday or the Monday after that, or fuck it. We'll talk about it and get it together.
For another
time. Just stay in touch with me, and I mean, I should be alright for Monday, but I mean, overall, this turned out to be a little bit more interesting than I thought it would be.
Wait, where's horror?
I thought it would make good
horror movie
conversation anyway. Top alien films, they're coming up with all kinds of ideas.
Or top sci-fi movies.
Yeah, sci-fi horror or just sci-fi or just
sci-fi is right up my alley, so I could easily do a top 5 sci-fi.
Or top action movies. That'd be a good one.
It's really unlimited, man. You know.
I mean, look at it this way: there's plenty of things to tackle, and there's plenty of time in the future to do it. We'll get it all figured out.
Yeah, this has been pretty fun to do.
Russell sent me a super chat earlier, and I want to respond here. With
oh yeah, I did see that. It was like a bright green one.
Yeah, here we go. Give him some love here.
Daffy Duck.
Suck that goal. I hate to be
All right. Well, yeah. Thank you to everybody in the chat for hanging out with me.
Here, bring JT back real quick to say later.
Yeah, I had a Wi-Fi dropout, so I had to switch to the fucking other thing. I was gonna just leave it in chat. If I'm not back in a minute, then just forget it. But glad I did that. But yeah, this is fun. This is definitely a good topic, and I saw a lot of good suggestions for other lists and stuff. So foreign horror and Asian horror, and the underrated one's a good one. So for sure,
maybe do it Monday or something. If you guys are open, it's going to be Monday, maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
Well,
body
horror, everybody.
All right, guys.
Yep. Have a good night, Sean.
Take care, everyone.
Take care, guys.
Later, guys.
Because I am agoraphobe and you are not.